Yay for Mondays. Go ahead, Flash fan. Say it all. Boomer, I'm old. That's all right. I just watched a show about grandmas. It's okay. And I even checked my mic. I even checked it, but it wasn't my mic that was muted. I muted myself. It's okay. Anyways, happy Monday. Yay. Well, hope you guys all had a great weekend. If you were celebrating it, I hope you had a great Mother's Day. I had a good one. I was so tired yesterday that I think I napped off and on all day. I think that's pretty much all I did. Bree and the baby came over a little bit later and spent a little bit of time. But for most of the day, I was by myself and it was okay. It was okay. I was just fine. Well, I think I've answered your question, Flashman. How's your favorite juror? Muted. Your Monday's been a Monday, Laura. So have mine, apparently. I told somebody earlier that if somebody said your day's over, you can go to bed, I would be like, okie doke. I'm like, that's fine. Hello, hello, Daddy Short Nuts. How are you? And yes, Gabby, yay, Monday. Thank you, Zach. Hope you had a great weekend. Sure you got some fishing in. Hey, Kelly. Hope you had a great Mother's Day as well. It's good to see everybody. I did Flashman, and I'm so sorry. I saw it this morning and I meant to go back. I saw that I had a notification and I meant to go back and check it. And I have today's just been kind of a weird busy. And so I will read it. I promise. So I apologize. But yeah, I wasn't even really on my computer at all until today. And then I was working on some stuff and I got sidetracked and it's been a thing. It's whatever. Your new standard is better than Buchanan. Yeah. That was brutal today. I was listening to it. I'm glad he's done. Get him off the stand. Let's roll. All right. Well, speaking of people being on the stand, we are covering the Betty Broderick trial from 1991. This is her retrial. Her first trial ended in a mistrial. She is on the stand, not yet, but she is on trial for unaliving her husband and his new wife of 6 months, Linda. And we have heard from, it's been kind of, mostly kind of dry so far, testimony-wise. But we've got law enforcement out of the way. We have the medical examiner out of the way. Hopefully there's no crime scene photos today. So if it is, I apologize. I haven't gone through this testimony. Hello, Carmen. Again. I feel bad. Carmen's called me twice and I haven't been able to talk to her once. So I will just add her to the stage. This is Kim Broderick. She is Dan and Betty's daughter. She was a teenager at the time this allegedly happened, and she's 21 now, so still very, very young. I feel bad that she has to testify against her mother. But I think I pointed this out to you guys last week that I noticed that all of them are sitting on Betty's side. And they're sitting behind her. They're sitting way to the back, but they're still sitting behind her. That may mean nothing because this courtroom seems kind of small. So, you know, yes, it's very much physically possible for her to be Linda's. It would be weird if your dad married somebody that was, a couple years older than you, but that's the way this cookie crumbles sometimes. This is going to be a long testimony. This is about 3 hours worth, so I'm going to try to stay out of the way as much as I possibly can. So if I don't pause very much tonight or whatever, I'm not ignoring anybody, just trying to roll through this. Just for a side note, I did order a new camera today, and I did order some new lights because mine have burned out. So, oh, tough on ushers. Bride or groom, victim or unaliver? I don't know, because I don't know what that means. I have no idea. All right, I've got sound boosted. There's no closed captionings again. We were spoiled with them for the first few days, or days for us. Oh, see, the seating arrangement. I get it now. Bride or groom, victim or unaliver. Ah, that's hilarious. Maybe there's only one side to the courtroom. Okay, I will make sure that I laugh at everything you say in chat. I will be muted. So there's that. All right, let me know how the sound is, and let's roll and see what happens.
Your full name for the record and spell your last name. Kimberly Curtin Broderick, Broderick. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Broderick.
Good morning.
Are you the daughter of the defendant, Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes.
Can you tell us how old you are?
21.
When is your birthday?
January 24th.
And do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, 3.
Could you tell us what their names are and what their ages are?
Kathy Lee, she's 20. Danny, he's 15. And Red, he's 12.
And where are you living at this time?
In San Diego.
How about your 2 brothers, Danny and Red?
They live in Colorado.
Who do they live with?
My Aunt Kathy Broderick.
Have they been living with your Aunt Kathy since these events, since your father was killed?
Yes.
And how about your sister Lee? Where does she live?
She lives in San Diego too.
Can you tell us, if you can, at this point, how you feel about your mother?
Well, I love her, but I'm mad at her.
And why is it that you're mad at her?
Because I don't like things that she's done.
Do you feel at all that you have some sort of obligation to take sides in this case?
No.
You understand that your only obligation as a witness is to tell the truth?
Your Honor, objection, please.
Overruled, you can answer that.
Excuse me?
Do you understand that your only obligation as a witness in this case is to simply tell the truth?
Yes.
And that's, no matter which way your answer cuts or you think it cuts, you just tell the truth.
Right.
How do you feel about your father right now?
Your Honor, objection.
Overruled, you can answer that.
Well, I still love him and miss him.
Did you basically grow up here in San Diego in La Jolla?
Yes.
And what school did you go to?
To Francis Parker.
Where is Francis Parker located?
It's in Linda Vista, on top of the hill by University of San Diego.
Is that a grade school all the way up through high school?
That's where the high school is. The lower school is in Mission Hills.
Okay, so there's a grade school that goes up through what grade?
6th.
And that's in Mission Hills?
Right.
And then once you get graduate to the 7th grade, you move to a different campus of Francis Parker?
Right.
Did your brothers also go to Francis Parker?
Yes.
And how about your sister?
For a while she did. Then she went to Bishop's.
And Bishop's is another school that's in La Jolla?
Yes.
When you first lived in La Jolla, did you live in a house on a street called Coral Reef?
Yes, we did.
What was the address there?
5555
Coral Reef. And you lived there with all your brothers and sisters and both of your parents, is that correct?
Yes. My brothers were born when we moved there.
Do you remember when you first moved there? I'm not asking you for the date, I'm just asking you if you remember that or were you too young?
I remember. It was about, I don't think it was a year before Danny was born.
How much younger is Danny than you?
He's 6 years younger than me.
While you were living on Coral Reef, can you describe for us whether, from your observations, whether your parents had a happy marriage?
Well, at the time I didn't think much of it, but they fought a lot. So, no, I didn't think it was a happy marriage at all.
From your observations, did you ever think that they appeared to be happy together?
At the time or now?
At the time.
I was too young. I really wasn't paying any attention.
How about now?
But no.
And why do you say that now?
No objection calls for conclusion, speculation.
Overall, yes.
What was the question?
Why is it that you say now that you don't think your parents ever had a happy marriage?
Because as far as I can remember back, they were fighting and saying they were going to get divorced.
You indicated saying they were going to get divorced. Who was it that would say to you they were going to get divorced?
My mom.
And what would she say?
She'd say, your father and I are going to get a divorce. Who do you want to live with?
Your Honor, can I check the microphone? And then
Certainly.
microphone?
It's turned all the way up.
When you indicate that your mom would say something like that, like your father and I are going to get a divorce, who do you want to live with? About how old were you when she would say something like that?
Yeah, before I was 10, like 7 or 8. No, yeah, about 7 or 8, and then from then on.
And was that something that she just said once, or was it something that she said?
No, repeatedly.
Would your father ever be there when she would say something like that?
Not often. It was usually just Mom and I. But he'd hear about it, or maybe he was there once or twice.
And what was his reaction to that?
He'd just say, oh, no, we're not going to get divorced, and you don't have to decide anything, and you don't have to answer that.
You indicated that your mom and dad seemed to fight a lot or argue a lot. Do you recall what they were arguing about?
Well, a lot about him not spending enough time at home and him going out with his friends. But that's the only main thing that I can remember them arguing about. They would, sorry.
When they would they argue in front of you, or would they go off to another room?
Both. I mean, I'm sure they argued when we weren't around, but they argued in front of us too.
Did your mother ever tell you why she married your dad?
No. I know she said she didn't want to. He just kept bugging her.
Did she say anything about pitying him?
She felt sorry for him that he asked her so many times, so then she finally gave in.
How about, were there ever situations when your mother locked your father out of the house?
Yes.
Can you describe that?
That usually happened if Dad would go out after work, and then Mom we lock the door. And then he would either, they had a balcony outside their bedroom, so he would either go up there and somehow get in, or one time I think he knocked the door down. And then another time he slept in the garage.
So this was something that happened on more than one occasion?
Yeah, it happened quite a few times.
Would he ever call up to you to have you let him in the house?
Yes.
Do you remember ever a time when your mother actually kicked him out of the house for an extended period of time?
Yes, he moved out into a hotel in La Jolla for a while. Not more than a month, but I think like a week or so.
Was this, do you recall, was this when he was still working for the firm of Gray Carey?
Yes.
And do you recall what his reaction was when your mother told him to leave?
He didn't want to go.
What did he say?
He said he'd be back soon and it'll be okay. And no, he didn't want to go at all.
Were you allowed to see him or talk to him when he left?
I don't really remember how long he was gone, but I know we didn't see him a lot. But he wasn't gone that long. He was only gone like a week or two.
Did he say anything to your mom about, please don't make me go?
Yes, and then Mom was playing the song "You Don't Bring Me Flowers" on the radio. She was playing the record, and then everyone was crying. He just said he'd be back soon. When they were talking in front of us, he was mostly just talking to us. He wasn't talking to Mom anymore. He was telling us goodbye.
And that he'd be back soon?
Right.
And this would have been, if he was still working at Gray Carey, it would have been before 1979.
Right.
During this time while you were growing up, before your parents separated, did you ever see your dad beat or hit your mother?
No.
Did you
Never at all.
ever see him hit her, slap her, do anything physical towards her? Never?
Never at all.
Did you ever see him threaten her, threaten to hit her or
No.
act violently?
Not at all.
Was there any violence between the two of them?
Well, but at each other.
Yes. Did your mother ever do anything violent towards your father?
I never saw her hit him, but she would scratch him and stick her fingernails in his arm. But I didn't see her hit him.
Was that when she would, you indicated sticking her fingernails in his arm. Was that something that happened just on occasion, or did it happen often?
It happened pretty often when we were young. And I know that she scratched his back once. I saw that, that's all.
Were there ever any incidents where she threw anything at him?
Yes.
Can you describe?
One night at dinner, he came in late, and well, I don't know if that was the whole issue, but she threw a ketchup bottle at him across the table. And then one time we went to dinner and we got back and, well, we went out for pizza and we got back and she threw a stereo, and then she threw this thing, this marble thing that has this little, I think you grind something in it or something. She threw that. And that's pretty much all she threw.
The incident where she threw the ketchup bottle, how did you recall how he responded to that? Did he throw anything back at her, or was there a fight?
No, it just smashed on the wall. And that was about all for that.
And the time that you went out for pizza with your dad, who else was at this pizza?
Dave Monahan and his children.
Okay, can you tell us who David Monahan is?
He's a friend of my father's.
So your dad, you and your
Sister.
sister, and David Monahan and his children, you all went out for pizza together.
Right.
And then what happened when you got home?
We were late, and then she threw a stereo. When we walked in the door, she threw the stereo, and then she threw the marble thing.
Do you recall?
No, that's wrong. The stereo was already thrown. It was like right when we walked in, the stereo was already thrown, and then she threw the marble thing when we were in there. So the stereo was already on the ground when I walked in the house.
Was she throwing it at your dad?
Well, he walked in first, and then the stereo was thrown, and then I walked in, the stereo was on the ground. She didn't hit him.
How about with the marble thing?
It didn't hit him. I mean, she threw it at him, though.
Do you recall what his reaction was?
No, he didn't really have a reaction. Just, they all sent us up to bed, and so, oh, geez.
Was it clear that your mother was angry at the time?
Yeah. But we didn't know that before we got home. But once we got home, yeah, it was pretty obvious that she was angry.
So this was something that once he opened the door, it was obvious that she was angry when she threw this.
Right. Very angry.
Was there a time that you recall when your mother burned your father's clothes?
Yes.
Can you describe how she went about doing that?
Their room overlooks the backyard, and she went in and took all the clothes and threw them out the back over the balcony into the grass. And then she dumped the drawers out, and then she went down and put gasoline all over the place and lit it on fire. And then she poured black paint all over the rest of it. Maybe she poured the black paint on to put this fire out. But after the fire, then there was black paint all over everything else. It wasn't burned.
When she was doing this, when she was throwing the clothes off the balcony onto the ground, were you there?
Yes.
Okay. And what were you doing?
Asking her to stop doing that.
Were you upset at what she was doing?
Yes.
Were you crying?
Yes.
And what was her response to you when you were trying to get her to stop?
She sent me away and hit me and told me to go away. And then I went away. So I wasn't there after the fire started.
What were you aware of the fact that the fire started?
Yeah, the whole neighborhood was at my house.
Do you recall what you did?
Left. Walked
Left?
down. Yeah. Walked down the street and down the hill.
Were you upset at the time?
Yeah, very upset.
What about, do you know where your sister or your brothers were at the time?
They were across the street at the McKelson's house. Those were our next door neighbors.
Were you there when your father returned home?
Yes, that was back then.
Do you recall what his reaction was when he saw his clothes?
He sat Mom down and said, "Oh, it'll be all right." And then he went outside and picked up stuff that was left. It was really calm and normal. And I didn't expect him to react that way at all.
You expected that he'd be more angry?
I thought he'd be in a fit. I thought he'd just pick up and leave. And he didn't. They worked it out.
Okay.
Mom calmed down and everything was fine.
Do you know at all of a suicide attempt by your mother?
Now I know of it.
At the time, did you know
No.
anything about your mother doing anything to herself?
No.
So if that occurred sometime around the time of the clothes burning incident, you weren't aware of it?
No.
And how was it that you found out about it? You said that you now know about it. Has it been since the time that your father's been killed? Or did your mother tell you about it later?
She told me about it later.
Okay. Do you remember when it was that she told you about it?
No. Sometime when I was in high school. I don't know when.
While your mom and dad were married, did your mother ever appear to be afraid of your dad?
No.
Did she ever say anything to you about being afraid of him?
No. She's bigger than him. She would laugh about that.
She would laugh about the fact that she was bigger than him? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you ever see your mother with a black eye?
No.
Did your father work a lot while they were married?
Yes, an awful lot.
He was an attorney, is that correct?
Yes.
And he worked long hours?
Yes.
And from the time, say, that Danny and Rhett were born, what did your mother do, basically, during the day while your father was at work?
Took care of us.
Did she socialize at all?
Mhm.
How would you describe, did she have maybe just one friend? Did she have a lot of friends?
Oh, she had lots of friends.
I'm sorry?
She had a lot of friends.
Did she give parties?
Yeah.
Did she often have people over to the house?
We had people over most Sunday nights for dinner.
Did it appear at all as though she was isolated from people, or was she free to have friends and go out and do what she wanted?
Oh yeah, she was free to go out and do what she wanted.
How about during that time, was she stuck at home doing all of the housework? Did she have any help with the housework?
We had a pair of girls that lived with us sometimes. We had a maid.
At some point, you hired a maid named Maria Montez?
Yeah.
What did your mother think of your dad's friends?
She didn't like them.
Were there problems along those lines?
Yes, she didn't like them at all. She didn't want him with them.
Were there some of them that she wouldn't let in the house?
I don't know.
But you were aware at the time that she didn't like his friends.
Yes. If they came over, I don't think she would shut the door in their face, but they weren't invited over.
And which friends are you talking about? Are you talking about any friends in particular or just friends in general?
Pretty much friends in general, like attorney friends in general. All the people that he worked with, not like family friends, the husbands, not that kind of person, not that kind of friend. I mean,
did you ever hear your dad call your mom fat or ugly or say degrading things to her?
Nope.
Never?
No, never.
Do you recall in 1985 when your parents separated?
Yes.
Where were you living at the time that they separated?
We were in a rental house in La Jolla Shores,
And was there a particular reason why you had moved to the rental house?
because our house is under construction, because half of it was sinking, kind of.
And that was the Coral Reef house. There was a problem with the house at Coral Reef.
Right.
Did all of you move into the rental? You, your mom and dad, and all your brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Do you recall anything unusual happening when you moved into the house? Did your mother leave for a period of time?
Yes.
Can you describe what happened?
Well, I don't know if the day we're moving in, that's when Mom disappeared. But I don't remember if we had a moving van or what. But we were all at the house, and then Mom never showed up.
Okay, when you say
We
your
were all
mom,
at the rented house, and Mom didn't come there.
and you said she disappeared. What happened? She just didn't show up?
Right.
And how long was she gone for?
A few days. A while.
Do you recall what your reaction or what the boys' reaction was?
We just figured she wasn't ever coming back. We just moved everything in, or tried. I mean, we didn't get too far, and just assuming that she wasn't coming back.
Was there there was a time then, obviously, when she came back?
Right.
Do you know why she just disappeared?
No, I don't.
Because she never explained it to you.
No,
Or she never told you that she was leaving before she left.
no.
Do you recall when your father actually moved out of the rental?
Yes.
Do you recall what happened that night?
I know Dad got home. It was around 8 or 9. We were still up, so it could have been later than that. And he went in the room, and then they got in some argument about something, I don't know what. And then Mom took hair gel and threw it at him. And then he came out and left. I think that's all that happened. He just grabbed some stuff and said he was leaving. Then he told us he was leaving, and then he left.
Do you know where he went when he left?
That instant, or where he
Where did he go to live at that point?
back to Coral Reef?
Were, excuse me. Just a short time before he left, had there been an argument at Christmas time over a present that your mother was unhappy about?
Yes, about a ring that he gave her.
Can you describe what happened?
She wanted this emerald ring that she's been eyeing for a long time. She really wanted it. And then he went and got her a ring, but it wasn't the ring that she wanted. So she said it was a disgrace and that she wasn't going to wear this, and it was like a child's ring, and then she threw it.
When you say she threw it, what did she do with it?
She opened it, and then she got mad about it, and then she threw the ring.
What did you see the ring? What kind of ring was it that he gave to her?
It was an emerald ring.
It wasn't the one that she had requested?
Right.
When he moved out and he moved back into the Coral Reef house, what was the state of the Coral Reef house at the time?
It was still under construction, but almost done. I don't think there were very many workmen. I think we were in the process of putting it back together.
Was there any furniture in the house?
No.
What was your dad sleeping on?
On the floor.
Did there come a time after that you ended up also living over at the Coral Reef house?
Yes.
Can you describe how it was that you ended up over there?
Well, it was on Easter, it was the night before Easter, and Mom and I got in an argument because I had this friend over that I wanted her to take home. And we had just been at Warden Springs, and she didn't want to take her home. She was tired, so she said no. And we got in an argument, so I went back into my room, and then Mom came in and said that pack up and leave, that she didn't want me there anymore. I can go live with Dad, so then I packed up and left.
So you packed up your clothes, and did she take you over to your dad's house?
Yes.
What time of night or day was that?
8 or 9 at night.
And
We had just gotten back from Warden Springs that day, so it was pretty late.
was it just you by yourself that she took over to Coral Reef?
Yes.
And left you there?
Yes.
Was your dad home when she left you there?
No.
Were you
He
able
didn't
to,
know I was coming.
were you able to get into the house, or did you have to wait outside?
I waited outside, and then I went around the back and got in later. And then he called, and I answered the phone, and he panicked and hung up on me because he didn't know. He thought he called the wrong number, or he didn't know who was in his house. So then he called back, and then he came home.
So then he called back, and when you realized that you were at home, he came home.
Right.
Was there any furniture in the house at that time?
No.
At some later point, did either of your brothers or sister come over to Coral Reef?
My brother, Danny, came over the next day on Easter, and then my sister, Lee, and Rhett came over a month or 2 later.
How was it that Danny was brought over?
He was fighting with Rhett, and Mom had enough of it, so she told him to pack up and move with me.
Did she actually bring him over?
Yes.
What was his emotional state when he was brought over?
He was really upset. He didn't want to come over there.
Was he crying?
Yes.
And then you indicated some couple weeks, month later, both Lee and Rhett were brought at the same time.
Yes, they were.
And again, what was the circumstances of them being brought over?
They were hysterically crying. They were very upset. Dad wasn't home. It was late at night, and I don't know what had occurred at that house that made her bring them over, but but she brought them over and dropped them off in the living room.
And did she say anything about why she was dropping them off in the living room?
She said, let him try and deal with 4 kids. No, she didn't give us much of a reason. She just said she wasn't going to be left here with 4 kids, so he could have us.
And again, was this was at nighttime and your father wasn't home?
Right. Well, he was coming home soon, though. He was, I don't know I don't remember where he was. It was after dinner. I don't know. It was late at night. He must have been somewhere that he was coming back soon, though.
When all 4 of you were there, then with your dad, did you have any furniture in the house, or was there still a period of time when there was no furniture?
When we had beds by then, but there wasn't furniture in the rest of the house.
Okay. Once all 4 of you were ultimately brought over to the Coral Reef house, did you then basically live there with your father?
Yes.
Did your dad ever pack you guys all up and try and take you back to your mother?
No.
What? How was your dad handling having all 4 of you there at the house?
At first, not very well. He didn't really know what to do with us because when we were growing up, he was around like at night and on the weekends and stuff, but he had no idea what to do with us. So not very well at first. But then he got better at it. And then he rearranged his schedule and spent more time at home. Not that much more, but more than before. And then he hired somebody to help around the house.
So he ultimately hired a maid or a housekeeper,
Right.
Babysitter, combined person.
Yes, and they made dinner and picked us up from school and stuff like that.
Was there a period of time there where he was on his own as far as getting dinner together for you guys, and as well as going to work? And
Yes, when we first were there. And then after that, then he hired somebody to help him.
at some point, did your mother move out of the rental house and into the house on Calle de Cielo?
Yes.
And when she moved into the house on Calle de Cielo, the 4 of you still stayed at Coral Reef with your dad. Is that correct?
Right.
Was there any time in there where she took any of the kids to live with her at Calle de Cielo?
We lived there for a little while, and the rest of us never really lived there, just visited.
While you were living at Coral Reef with your dad and your mother had moved into Calle de Cielo, were there any times when she came over to Coral Reef and did anything to the house?
Yes.
Can you describe, for example?
She came over one time and hit an umbrella to the front door. The glass, I guess it wasn't. It was the front window, I'm sorry, front window. And she spray painted the house once. And then another time she smeared lipstick on the bathroom mirror saying something, but I don't remember what it said. And then another time she smeared this Boston cream pie all over my dad's bed. And
When she,
Got it.
you said she wrote something in lipstick on the mirrors. Was it anything vulgar?
yeah, I think it was a bad word or something. I don't remember. It wasn't nice. I don't remember exactly what it said though.
How about when she spray painted? Was it just spray painting or was it spray painting words? Do you recall?
It was just spray painting. I don't remember any words.
And was there ever a time where she smashed a stereo, threw a stereo to the ground?
Then? No.
Yes.
No, not that I remember.
Okay, that was earlier during the marriage?
That was after we went out to dinner with Dave Monahan.
Were on any of these times when she was coming over to the house and doing these things, were you or the other children at home, or was it times when you guys would be gone?
Both. When we would be there or when we'd be gone. than coming home.
What did your dad ever talk to her about stopping doing that?
Yes, repeatedly.
I'm sorry,
Yes, repeatedly.
repeatedly?
Yes.
And what was her reaction?
She wasn't going to stop doing that.
Okay. Did she say why?
Hmm. No. No, I don't think she gave a reason why. She just wasn't going to stop doing that. I don't know what she wanted then. I don't remember what she was mad about. Exactly. I mean, I know in general, but I just don't know exactly what the issue was going on then.
But your dad asked her anyway to stop, and it did not stop. Is that correct?
Right. And then he got restraining orders. But that didn't stop anyway. That didn't help anyway.
I'm sorry.
That didn't help anyway.
Was there a time then when you and your father and the rest of the kids moved out of La Jolla?
Yes, we moved over to Balboa Park area.
And was that into 1041 Cypress?
Yes.
And that's a house in the Marsden Hills area of Hillcrest?
Yes.
And what was the reason for moving?
Because the Coral Reef house was basically the family house. And Dad thought that if we moved out of there, that then Mom wouldn't want to come around because we wouldn't be in her house anymore. So it wouldn't aggravate her that we were all living in this house that she used to live in. So if we moved over there, and also it's farther away. So he thought that she wouldn't come over, and she wouldn't come over that much.
It wouldn't come over and vandalize the house?
Right.
As far as you know, during that period of time, was she free to come over and see the kids before she was vandalizing the house?
Before?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. After restraining orders, no.
When you moved to the house in Marsden Hills, was that closer to Francis Parker?
Yes. So it only took about 5 minutes to get there. Well, that's to my school, the upper school. To the lower school was even closer than that.
Yeah, it's pretty close to Francis Parker there where...
Yeah, Mission Hills is right here, and then Hillcrest is right there. So, and Marsden Hills, I guess, is in Hillcrest, though.
Okay, so moving to Marsden Hills was not like a disadvantage to the kids. It was actually moving them closer to the school that they were going to. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what do you remember the general condition of your dad's house at Marsden Hills when you first moved in?
It was really old. Needed a lot of work, basically. He redid it all. It's not what it looks like now.
And how about your mom's house on Calle de Cielo? Do you remember the condition of it when she first moved in?
It needed a lot of work. It was a mess. There was some people that lived in her living room and made it into a commune or something and had a fire on the carpet. So it needed a lot of work.
And did she ultimately make some improvements of that house as well? While you were living at Cypress with your dad, do you recall an incident when your mother smashed the car through the front door?
Yes.
Can you describe that, what happened?
They were going to court about the sale of the Coral Reef house because no one lived there anymore. So they were going back and forth about that, and then they couldn't agree, and so
I just like you, if you could, to describe what happened when she came over to the
the
house.
first time she came over, she said, "I'm not leaving till I talk to him," and she wasn't supposed to be there. So I was asking her to leave, and she said, "He's going to be sorry. I'm not leaving until he gets here. I'm talking to him." So I called Dad. I'm like, "You better come home. Mom's here. She wants to talk to you." So he rushed home, and then she told me that she was going to burn down Coral Reef house, that she'd burn it before he'd sell it, and he can't do that. So then he came home, and they argued, and he said, "I'm not going to talk to you. You have to get out of here. You can't barge into my house and make demands. So you have to leave." And so eventually she left, and Dad called the police and said, "She's going to burn down the other house. Go over there and watch it." So I guess the police did that. And while we were talking about this in the kitchen, then the car came through the front door.
So before she had left, she had told you she was going to go burn down Coral Reef.
Right,
And that's why your dad knew about that.
right.
And then after she left, you were still there in the house with you and your dad, and was anybody else there?
Lee,
And what were you doing when the car came through the front door?
making dinner.
And what was it that made you realize that the car was coming through the front door?
There's a really, the sound, it sounded like a chainsaw. And then I just heard that, and then everything started shaking, and then I left. So I didn't know it was a car at the time. I didn't know until I came back up into the house,
When you say you left, where did you go?
down the canyon.
Okay, your dad's house was on a canyon?
Yes,
And why did you go down in the canyon?
because I thought it was a chainsaw and that she was gonna chainsaw Dad. So I ran away.
You thought your mom was going to chainsaw your dad.
Yes, because I could hear Mom and I couldn't hear Dad. Dad wasn't saying anything, and so I assumed he was dead.
So you were afraid. Is that why you ran down into the canyon?
Yes,
And what was there a point then when you came back up out of the canyon?
yes,
And where was your mother at that point?
in the police car.
Okay. And did she do anything to you when she saw you?
She spit her tongue out at me.
I'm sorry?
She spit her tongue out at me.
She spit her tongue out, stuck her tongue?
Yeah.
Do you know why she did that?
No.
Do you know what happened to her after that point? You said she was in the police car. Do you know where she went?
She went to jail first, and then she went to like a hospital.
Did you visit her when she was at the hospital?
Yes.
While you were living at Cypress, did your mom talk to you all sometimes over the phone?
Yes. Often.
So she would call over there. She was free to call and talk to you all on the phone?
Yes.
Do you recall that there was a specific conversation that she had with your brother Danny that you overheard?
Yes.
And that was a conversation that was tape recorded, and you've heard the tape of that?
Yes.
And do you recall why it was that conversation was kind of unique?
Well, at the time, Danny's really shy, and he doesn't really speak up to people, and he was yelling at Mom. So it was unique in that way. And
In the conversation, was it clear to you that Danny was upset?
yes, he was very upset.
It was a very upsetting, disturbing conversation.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the
Stand.
Can you describe his emotional demeanor during this particular conversation?
He was very upset.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask to have marked as People's Exhibit next in order.
40.
People's Exhibit 40, a tape,
So mark.
cassette tape. And I am going to ask to play this for the jury, but it's, as I recall, it's about a 45-minute tape, and it might be appropriate to take the break at this point, play the tape afterwards.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our morning recess at this time. We'll be in recess until, say, 10:30. That give you enough time? In recess until 10:30. Please remember the admonition. Ladies and gentlemen, prior to playing the tape, I urge you an admonishment. The evidence that is now being introduced is introduced for the purpose of showing that the defendant committed another act other than the one for which she is on trial. Such evidence, if believed, is not received and may not be considered by you to prove either that the defendant is a person of bad character or that she has a predisposition to commit the crime charged. The evidence is received and may be considered by you only for the limited purpose of determining if it tends to show either the existence of the intent, which is a necessary element of the crime charged, and or the existence of a motive for the commission of the crime charged. For the limited purpose for which you may consider such evidence, you must weigh it in the same manner as you do all other evidence in this case. You are not permitted to consider consider such evidence for any other purpose. Play the tape.
Just to get his money. Yeah, that's right. Then if he knows that, then how come he doesn't stop? Because he's so stupid. He doesn't care giving her the money. But that money is mine. I earned it. I earned it for 20 years of hard work and total shit for that asshole. Yeah, but you're never going to see us again. Don't you care about your family besides stupid money? I care perfectly about my family. Then how come you won't just shut your mouth and so we can come over there? Somebody else is on the phone. No, I don't care. No, I don't care either. I took absolute perfect care of my family. I was the best mommy in the whole world and the best wife in the whole world. It's not my fault your father's such a fuckhead. I care plenty about my family. I only work 24 hours a day for 17 years. So that's fine. If it isn't your fault, then why don't you just mind your own business and not care if... I don't mean mind my own business. And don't care who he's seeing. He could be seeing a totally different girl. What makes it different? Well, I guess you're a real California kid. Congratulations. You're bringing a scrambled eggs. You've been living with him too long. You don't have any sense of value, right and wrong, up and down, in and out, black and white, truth or lie. Stay living with him, your whole title goes. All you care about is the money. That's what he tells you, right? No. Yeah. But that's all. No, that's what you tell me. But what do you care about? Besides the money. I wish this person would hang up the phone. Nobody's on the phone. Are you in the kitchen? No, I'm upstairs. Well, what's that noise? It's what noise? People walking around in the kitchen. It's not in the kitchen, it's up here. Where is it? Everybody walking upstairs. Like the babysitter and Red and Lee and Dad and stuff. And stuff. You either come there? No. Well, okay, what else do you care about besides your money and your share of things to own? What do you think else do I care about? I cared about my family bad enough to put up with him fucking Linda for 2 years. Yeah, well, if you care about your family, if you stop saying bad words, Mom. I put up with shit in my face for 2 years, and you kids never even knew it. You never knew he was fucking Linda while I was married to me, did you? No. No, and I did. And I put up with shit for 2 years hoping he'd get over this. And he'd grow up. And he obviously is too weak a little faggot. But no, you don't. If you care about your family, you'd stop saying bad words. Well, I repeat again, I'd rather be a lady and a wonderful person and call a cunt to cunt. Well, you're not going to be a wonderful person to very many people if you don't stop saying those bad words. I'm sick of the cunt answering the telephone and not letting my messages through. I'm keeping my children away from me on 2 Christmases and 2 Thanksgivings and 2 birthdays. It's not only Linda's fault, it's Dad's fault too, and it's your fault, Mom. Right. Because you keep on saying bad words. That would never happen. You would never be calling here. The first Christmas, your father took me away, took his eyes away from me, and fucked Linda right in front of you at the ski place. We were married. And I wasn't calling anybody a cunt then. What ski place? In Utah. We were married when he did that. No, we weren't. No, oh yeah, but you were still separated. Well, what difference does that make? We were married. And you are my 4 kids that he took away from me for Christmas and put you in an ugly apartment where we could... No, but he did take you ass away. You gave us to him. On Christmas? No, on Easter. You sent me over there on Easter, and in a couple hours more they were over here. Mm-hmm. And you've just been having a good time ever since, haven't you? No, we haven't. We're having a horrible time. You keep on saying the bad words, and we're never going to be able to come over there if you don't stop. And if you don't stop, it just shows me that all you care about is your money. Well, this house isn't as pretty as that house.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot prettier.
This house?
I think so. So I need her.
It's in a better spot. I don't like you in gay town. With all the criminals and all the retards and the old folks and the drug dealers.
Because if you don't stop saying bad words, we're never going to be able to see you again. And it's not doing any good.
Yeah, well, as soon as I get a fair settlement from Daddy,
See, that's what I mean. All you care about is your money and your fair settlement.
I will get a fair settlement and then I'll discuss custody.
Oh, well, you're never going to get custody.
I have ruined 4 years of my
And
life.
there's not going to be a fair settlement until you stop saying bad words.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it does.
No, no.
We aren't allowed to be around you if you're saying bad words, Mom.
Well, and the cunt's allowed to be around you? Who's been
What's wrong with that? Because if you guys are divorced, Dad can be with anybody he wants to.
I didn't get a divorce. Daddy got the divorce. I'm still married.
I know. No, you aren't. Because if you get divorced, you both are separated, Mom. And he likes somebody else now. He doesn't like you anymore. And I mean, if you gotta stop saying the bad words.
Why doesn't he like me anymore?
Because he's sick of you because you guys get in all these fights.
Why was it fight?
I don't know.
When he was fucking his secretary.
Even before that, you got in fights, Mom.
I don't think so, Danny. See, you didn't know he was fucking his secretary for the last 2 years we were married. I didn't tell anybody. I was too embarrassed for everyone. And I thought he'd cut it out and grow up. And he didn't. So we did. We fought like crazy because he was a flaming fuckhead bastard.
Yeah, that was the only 2 years ago. But before that, you were still getting in fights all the time.
Danny, every married couple in the whole world fights sometimes. We weren't getting in fights all the time.
Not all the time, but you got in fights a lot.
About what?
About lots of stuff. About houses and everything. I don't know about everything.
Oh, I hear little Rick. Is that the babysitter reading them the story or something?
No, he's talking to Kim. I think.
Kim's was at my house. Kim's not home yet.
Kim?
Is Kim there? Oh, she's home. Oh, that was quick. She tell her after she took a rocket ship.
Did you take a rocket ship here? And how did you get here so fast?
Anyway, I don't want you to be mad at me. Because I didn't do anything.
Well, I'm going to be if you don't stop saying those bad words. Because nothing ever is going to happen. It's just going to get worse. You're going to get a lot better if you don't stop. Because we can't do anything about it now. It's your problem now. You have to fix it. You're the only person that can fix it.
Fix what?
Fix us from coming over and seeing you and for Dad giving you more money so we can go on trips and stuff. And you gotta stop saying bad words. I mean, if you're hoping in anything, you might as well forget it if you're going to keep on saying bad words.
If I'm doing what?
If you're hoping on getting anything, you better stop saying bad words.
I never used to say bad words until I got fucked on for 4 years.
Okay, you said that 5 times, but it's not going to do any good to keep on saying bad words. Just going to make it a lot worse.
Somebody called up Daddy and said dickhead and hung up the phone and he thought it was me and it wasn't.
Who was it?
I don't know. Somebody else must call him dickhead. I call him fuckhead.
See what I mean, Mom? You keep on calling it bad words, and it's just going to make things a lot worse. And you won't stop, will you?
Well, 'cause I
Until you get your share of money.
He's scum, Danny. He's absolute scum. He's cheated and lied and fucked around. There's nothing.
Don't you think being mad for 2 years is enough, though, Mom?
No, it took me 20 years of goodness to get mad.
So I know lots of people that parents are. I know not a lot of people, but I know a couple of people whose parents are divorced, and they've been divorced for a little bit. Like a little. Get out of here, Kim. I know the business. And then, like Andrew, for instance, her mom isn't mad about it, and his dad isn't mad about it.
Are you kidding? His mother hates his father.
I know, but I was with them at a soccer game. The mom walked right past the dad, and they looked at each other, but they didn't say anything, and they didn't glare at each other or anything.
Well, because she got her money. How do you think she's able to live?
Well, she works too, though, Mom.
She got a settlement out of him.
She works though too.
Yeah, I should work too.
Why don't you? And why don't you stop saying bad words and you'll get your stupid share?
Hey,
You will though. You'll get more than your share.
who said that stupid chair?
I did.
Who said that? I have a friend, Mary Williams, whose husband divorced her, and they got divorced within 3 days. They split everything down the middle, just like I wanted to do. Fuckhead doesn't want to give me 1 cent of what's mine. And he's the one who's caused this 2-year delay, because he doesn't want to give me anything that's mine. And he's the one who's dragging this out. I told Ruth Ross we could be finished with this in an hour.
Guess what?
When Dan Broderick decides he wants to settle this, we can settle it in an hour.
How?
By agreeing on what he's going to give me that's mine. And by
Yeah, well, you're gonna be selfish and you're gonna want everything there is.
why would you think that?
Because it's true.
Danny, I'm not selfish. I'm just fair.
You want everything. You want half and half of everything that owns. You want all the kids, and you want them to get away. So that leaves Dad with nothing.
Oh, well, excuse me. First off, you're wrong. I don't want everything.
And then what do you not want?
Second off, what do I care if he's left with nothing? He walked out on this family. He doesn't deserve a family.
Well, okay, what's he care that you're left with nothing? It's the same exact thing, Mom. How do you feel with nobody living there? Not very good, huh? Not getting your money or anything. And all you ever care about is your stupid money.
Well, if you say that one more time, I'm going to sticker punch you for 25 minutes when I see you. That is not true. But I want what's mine out of that bucket who refuses to settle.
Yeah, well, if you stop saying bad words, it will happen.
No, it won't. For 2 years, I didn't say bad words and nothing happened.
Right. Well, yeah, you did because you stayed together and you got your share of money and everything. You got more than your share of money. You got almost all of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either,
For
Mom.
2 years of separation, he could have settled this in the first week. In the first day, he could have settled this.
Well, we couldn't have because you were so mad and you sent us over there.
No, from separation, he could have settled it. And then I would know how much money I was getting to pay the bills and to buy things and stuff. And fix up this house so you guys could come live here.
Well, it's perfectly fine for 2 of us to come live here. I don't know if the girls want to come, but if they do, I don't care. But all I care is that I want to come and Brad wants to come. And there's enough room there. There's one big room for both of us.
You don't even like me. You think I'm selfish and mean and everything else. What do you want to come for?
Because we both like you, and you're just being a real jerk because you don't want us to come over. All you want is your stupid money. It's true, Mom. You don't care about us. You just want your money.
That's not true.
Then how come you won't stop saying bad words?
You're my little baby.
Yeah, I know. If you stop saying bad words, you can have your little babies.
My little baby's growing up. He's just trying to mouth on him. You're a smart kid, Danny. I love it. You're a smart kid. You're a very, very smart kid. You're going to be such a famous guy when you grow up. Whatever you do, you're going to be so successful at it because you're so smart. Take after your mother.
Why don't you just, no, you're not very smart, Mom. Because you're not doing anything that you should be doing. You should not be so mad after 2 years. And you should, if you like us, if you think we're such a little babies, then why don't you want us to come over there? Why don't you stop saying bad words? What's so funny?
You're yelling at me. Monkey. Do you have a cold?
Yeah.
Or are you just mad?
Like both. Why don't you just stop saying bad words? This whole thing could be settled a lot quicker. Because if you keep on saying bad words, it will never be settled, Mom.
Well, you tell Daddy to settle quick. It can be settled before lunchtime tomorrow.
No, you have to settle it before lunchtime tomorrow.
Why?
Well, he doesn't have to, because you're the only one that's gonna change. You're the only one that's gonna change it. Nobody else can change it except you.
No, I mean, settlement. He's got all the money. He's got every single cent the two of us own. When he gives me half, then we'll discuss.
He gives you money I don't know, but he gives you a lot of money.
Yeah, well, it's not enough.
Why isn't it enough?
It's not what the law says I own.
Yeah, how much do you own?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you get your stupid having your money, and you just stop saying bad words.
I wish you were here to fight me in person.
Well, why don't you stop saying bad words, Mom?
Are you gonna go see Dr. Ruth again?
Yeah?
When are you going?
I don't know, April something or something. I don't know, April 1st.
April Fool's Day?
Yeah. And she doesn't want us to go over there. She wants us to do what you should do. Stop saying bad words and then let us come over.
We'll plan a big joke on her for April Fool's Day.
I don't care about a stupid joke. But how come you just won't stop saying bad words?
Because I'm mad.
Yeah, we can't be mad for 2 years. And you're just going to get worse and worse and worse until you get your stupid share of money. And you're never going to get your stupid share of money unless you stop saying bad words. There's nothing funny about it, Mom.
Where's Daddy while you're yelling at me like this?
I don't know.
He's probably listening at me.
Well, he is a good, I always see he's walking through this room every once in a while to fix some light bulbs.
Where's the country?
Nowhere, Mom. I don't know.
No, it's not time to come over to school yet, huh?
No, she's with her family.
Oh, who's the family?
I don't know.
I wonder what her family thinks of her fucking her boss who's married with 4 kids.
Not anymore.
Well, what did they think of her when she was fucking him when he was married with 4 kids?
I don't know. Well, why don't you stop saying bad words? Till you get your stupid money share. Well, you're not going to get it, Mom.
Well, you're tougher than that. You're tougher than that, huh?
But why do you keep on doing it?
Because I'm ticked off.
Okay, you've told them that a million times. You're ticked off. Who cares? You better stop saying bad words or else you're going to be more ticked off.
Well, you know, no matter what bad words I say, I still own half.
Oh, fine. If you say no bad words, you're going to get your stupid half.
Stop and yelling at me. You're a little monster.
Well, you're not listening.
I'm listening. You're giving me an earache.
Then why don't you do it?
It's in my ear.
Why don't you do it? Because you're being selfish and you want to do everything. You want to get all the kids, you want to get all the money, you want to get rid of Linda, and you want to still say bad words. And it's not going to work, Mom.
Just remember, you have no reason to be mad at me. I didn't cause any of this. Daddy.
Well, you're causing it worse and worse.
Caused all this trouble, and look, you're mad at me, and I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing.
Yes, you did. Well, you didn't do anything, but you're doing something.
Turn up the phone.
What?
Daddy just turn up the phone.
No, somebody was on for 2 seconds. I heard him got on, and I heard him get off. They were on for like 3 seconds.
Well, you just watch who you're mad at, because I'm
Well, I'm mad at you because you're doing something right now. You're not letting us come over to see you. You're just wanting all your money.
What do you mean I'm not letting you come over here?
No, you're not letting. It's you. No, it's you. You're saying the bad words.
I'd rather say a bad word than be a bad word. Dan and Linda are a bad word.
Well, fine. You can say what you want, but you're just being a real jerk to all your family. Nobody's gonna like you anymore.
Well, thanks a lot.
Well, we're not gonna even know what you sound like or look like if you keep on saying the stupid bad words.
Well, I didn't do any of this thing. I was the best mother and the best wife in the whole world.
Well, you're doing something right now. You're saying stupid bad words and you're not making any sense.
Daddy fucked all of us. He fucked your whole life and my whole life.
Well, you're doing the same thing right now, Mom. You're making it a lot worse, too. Yes, you are. Yes. You're saying bad words and nothing ever is going to happen if you keep on saying stupid bad words.
Saying bad words has nothing to do with fucking your whole family.
I know, but it has to do with messing up the whole family, because if you don't stop saying bad words, nobody's going to let us come over there. Ever. So you better stop doing it. Because you're just going to make your whole family mad at you, or everybody that wants to come over there.
You need a hug.
Why won't you just do it, Mom?
You need a hug. A big hug. A big rocking hug on my
Oh, why won't you just do it? You're making everything 10 times worse. And it's just gonna get worse and worse until you start saying the bad words. Why won't you stop? Huh?
I gotta pause it for just a second because I need a break. But because this is awful to listen to, I don't care what's going on between the parents. This kid is just begging his mom, like, just stop what you're doing, and trying to talk some sense into her. If I remember correctly, Betty was getting fined or held in contempt or sanctioned or whatever by the judge, the divorce attorney, because she was calling and leaving all the voicemail messages, answering machine at that time, messages with all the profanity that the kids were hearing, and probably having this happen a lot. So I do believe that she was getting in trouble because she needed that. He was telling her, like, knock it off, and she clearly wasn't going to, and she didn't. And I feel so bad for this kid. Yeah, Flashman, I think he's woo. I was doing like the math. I think he was probably around 12, just give or take a few years, a year either way. So young, too young to be listening like that. Well, in this instance, yeah, you do win a prize. I don't know what it is, but oh, I needed a break. I can't. I can't. Well, Flash Van, his voice, I don't think he's old enough where his voice has changed yet. I hate this, but I can say daughter is getting coached. She was stuck on one thing, but a note got read and she immediately mentioned money out of the blue. Yeah, but this kid, I am struggling with this kid. Yeah. Yeah, that's the son. That's like, so Kim is on the stand. She's 21 at the time. She was 18. She was somewhere between 17 and 18, 19 when that happened. So, she said in her testimony she was 6 years older than Danny. So that's why I'm just taking her being between 16, 17, or 17, 18, 19, and just subtracting 6 years off of that. That's where I came up with 12. So that's why I don't know that it's, I don't know exactly how old he was. But yeah, that's her son Danny that she's talking to. Well, I also didn't feel sorry for you when I wasn't there to step in to tell you not to pick up something because you're an adult. No, I sent her to the beach, and the dummy picked up a jellyfish and wondered why she got stung. Yes, I just called my daughter a dummy. Sorry. Yeah, how about the ghetto blaster though? It's back in the day. Back in the day. Yes, keep kids out of divorce. I ended up having people think you still wanted your ex back for 4 years until JoJo was done with him. Then on a dime, they found out how much you hated him. Yeah, I mean, this poor kid should not know this much information about this situation. He just should not. Um, it's sad. It is sad. You can just hear it in his voice. Just all you have to do is stop saying bad words. It's all you have to do. And she's just saying like, I can't. And can't in this situation means you just won't. There's a difference between I can't and I won't. Like I cannot go outside my door. I don't know where that came from, and climb a mountain. One, because there's none around here, and two, I have not trained to climb a mountain, so I cannot do that. But there's a difference between saying I can't and I won't. It's like I won't go downstairs and maybe eat a vanilla pudding cup after this is over. Maybe. I don't know. I might. Probably won't. I don't know what that was. I have no idea. Every once in a while, my Nebraskiana accent gets confused and something else comes out. I don't know. I don't know. All right. That was a nice little break because, man, I needed it. I had to reset, obviously, because this is a 45-minute call. So I don't know how far through we are. Oh, but I just needed it. Just a refresher. So back to it.
You always say that you're not doing anything, but you are, Mom. Get off the phone. Who are you talking to? Mom, get off the phone. Don't yell at me. No, I am going to yell at you. Get off the phone. Why won't you just listen, Mom? You're going to make it life a lot easier for everybody in this family if you just stop saying bad words. You're gonna get your stupid share if you stop saying your words. You're gonna get some of the kids that want to come over to your house, and forever if you just stop saying the stupid bad words. it's not gonna do any good to keep on saying bad words.
We had such a nice family.
I know, but you're just gonna make stuff worse by saying bad words, Mom.
We're the best family in the whole world. We were all so happy. All the kids and me were so happy.
I know, but we're gonna be a lot happier if you just stop saying bad words.
What do you tell that swine dog?
See what I mean, Mom? You're saying it right now. You better stop. Or else you're just gonna make everything worse.
You tell swine dog to act like a man.
He is acting like a man. Okay, what is he doing wrong, Mom? You're the person that's doing the thing wrong. You're saying bad words and making the family worse.
I'm not saying bad words for no reason.
I know, but still, you have no right to say a bad word in front of your kids.
Robbie, everything I have on earth, including the kids.
Yeah, but he didn't rob us. You gave us to him.
Why?
I don't know why. You gave us to him. And it was really stupid because once you gave it to him, you got really mad, and it wasn't even his fault that we got over there, and you just started to say bad words, and we're gonna stay over here for the rest of our lives if you don't stop it.
Maybe you should stay there the rest of your life.
We don't want to, though, Mom. We want to live with you, but you're just making it harder for all of us that wants to live over there. If you stop saying bad words, everybody will be happier. At least I know I will. And I know Red will. I mean, you probably don't care because all you want is your money.
Poor little you.
Why won't you just stop saying the bad words?
Poor little you. I'm crying. I'm crying too.
Well, why won't you just stop saying them? You've said them a million times. You don't need to say them anymore. You've been mad for 2 years now. That's long enough, Mom. You should have been done after 2 months of it instead of 2 years.
I would have been done after 2 hours of it if we had a settlement. And Daddy did this like a gentleman.
Yeah, well, you could have done that because you said it's over here.
Like a fucking slug. Throwing me in jail and stealing my house out from underneath.
Oh, yeah, you know why he threw you in jail? Because you came and ran through his house.
After he stole my house from me.
Yeah, he didn't steal your house. That was a rented house.
No, I was Coral Reef. The day he sold Coral Reef and kept.
And also because you poured gasoline all over it.
You don't understand things, Danny.
You don't either, Mom. You better stop saying the bad words.
Tell your father to grow up and act like a gentleman, and it'll all be over in an hour.
Well, no, you should grow up and act like a woman and stop being so mad about all this. You just have to stop saying the bad words. And you won't. You're being a jerk. You're being selfish. You want everything your way. And you're not going to get everything your way if you don't stop saying bad words.
I haven't had anything, Mike.
I know, but you're not going to get it. You want it, though, but you're not going to get it until you stop saying bad words. You still won't get all of it, but you're going to get some of it at least. And you'll have to stop saying bad words.
God. We should get drunk and drive and fucking.
What's going to make a difference, Mom?
Well, then it'd just be gone off the earth.
Who cares? Somebody else would have custody of us besides you because you keep on, they think you're a bad influence because you'll be saying everything about Dad and all these bad words. And you're never going to have it unless you stop saying the stupid bad words.
You know who has custody of you?
Who?
Wonderful Uncle Barry.
Of me, that's all. And I don't want to do that, but still, Mom, you're being a jerk. You're ruining the whole rest of our life by saying these stupid bad words.
Is Red there?
No, he's asleep.
Oh, I thought I heard his voice. Good.
He went to sleep just now.
Well, why don't you go to sleep too?
Because I have to do my homework.
You want to go run today?
Sort of. But why don't you just do it, Mom? You keep on saying all these bad words.
Tell your father to act like a gentleman.
Yeah, I know. Well, you should tell you to act like a woman, too. And stop saying the bad words. You've been mad enough long. I mean, you've been bad long enough.
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, so you want to be mad another 2 years, and then after that, another 4 years, and after that, maybe another 6 years.
Please tell me she has to turn the tape over. Be hilarious.
You want to collect the transcript? Ms. Broderick, that conversation that we just heard between your mother and Danny, that occurred sometime in 1987 while you were all living at Cyprus, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall how old Danny was at the time?
He would have been 11.
And how was it? Can you tell us how it was that the conversation got tape recorded?
My dad tape recorded it. He was in his room when the conversation started, and then he went down and we had a button on our answer machine that could tape the conversation.
So there was an answering machine already on the phone, and you just need to push a button to record conversations on it?
Right.
Obviously, Danny was fairly upset in that conversation.
Yes.
Do you know why your dad didn't stop the conversation?
Well, it wasn't like Danny to act like that. Danny doesn't talk to people like that. So he's obviously very upset. So probably so
Your
Danny.
objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did your dad ever get into trouble or have problems with your mother when he would stop conversations between her and you kids?
Yes.
Can you
Because
describe that?
Because then he was interfering with our contact with Mom, and she was supposed to be able to contact us and call us. And so then in court, and that would raise problems for him that he was interfering in our contact with my mom.
So if she called and he would prevent conversations,
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
I hadn't even gotten the question out there.
You got enough that I know what it was to rephrase it if you want.
Okay. Would your mother get angry if he would in any way interfere with the children talking to her on the phone?
Yes, very angry. In court, and she would go to court, and then that was, and then he wasn't supposed to do that.
The things that your mother was saying in that conversation that we just heard, the names that she was using to refer to your father, the names she was using to refer to Linda, were those kinds of things unusual for her to say?
No, that's what she called them.
Did she talk that way often?
Yes, that's what she called them all the time.
So as far as her part of that conversation, that was not an unusual way for her to talk or for her to refer to your dad or Linda?
No.
Do you recall when she started referring to them like that?
No, not really. Not specifically.
Was she, as far as you know, was she angry immediately after the separation?
Yes.
And did she continue to be angry ever after?
Yes.
Were there things that she would say to you or to your brothers that would influence how they felt about their father?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
Well, she really hated Dad, and she wouldn't want us to like him either. So she would say things like, we just weren't supposed to tell her that if anything good about Dad or Linda. We're not supposed to talk about them. And
How would she react if you happened to say something nice about them?
she'd have a fit.
And what do you mean by having a fit?
Well, with me, then she'd probably yell at me or kick me out of her house or hang up on me or whatever. With Danny and Rhett, I don't know if she'd kick them out of the house, but she'd yell at them. And it would ruin the entire day. Then she'd be in a bad mood and angry. Like if you're over there and you call them or something like that.
So even if you were over at her house and any of you called your father, she'd get upset about that?
Unless she told us to call them.
With respect to the boys in particular, did she ever encourage them to use that kind of language with respect to Linda as
Yes.
well? Would she encourage
She did.
the boys to call Linda a cunt?
Yes, she did.
And did the boys on occasion do that?
Not that I'm aware of. Not to her face.
Okay. Would she say anything to them about whether or not their dad loved them?
She said that he didn't love any of us. He just kept us to aggravate her, and that he didn't really want us, and that he was just going to get married and then dump us all and start a new family.
Did she tell the boys anything about what he would do if he had more children with Linda?
Forget about them, and that was the whole plan. That he was going to get married, have more children, and then forget about all of us.
And these are things that she would say to you and to the boys.
Yes.
Did she ever encourage the boys to run away?
Yes, they did on occasion.
What would she say to them?
Well, when he would come to pick him up, she would say, "Don't go out there. Just hide, and we'll tell him that you're not here." And then he'll leave and just stay here. Don't go with them, or just pick up and leave, or take a stand up for yourself. Don't be such a wimp. Just leave. Come over here.
Do you recall an incident of her encouraging Danny to run away on Father's Day?
Yes, he did. When Dad came to pick him up, I was over there, and Danny disappeared. So we went all around looking for him. It ended up he was up at one of his friends' houses hiding with his bike. And then I believe we got him later that day. I think we went and picked him up later that day. But we looked for him for a while. My mom looked for him too. I mean, I don't know if she knew if he was up at the friend's house. But
Was your dad upset about that?
very upset. Really hurt his feelings. Because he had planned that we were all going to go out to dinner and stuff for Father's Day.
Do you recall her ever refusing to let Danny come over for Mother's Day? Telling him he could just spend Linda's day with Linda?
No.
Okay. If you indicated that you weren't basically allowed or free to say anything nice about your dad or Linda in front of your mother. If your mother was angry at you because you said something like that, how did you go about getting her not to be angry anymore?
Well, if you were mad at Dad, then that was good. I mean, not necessarily, okay, if she's mad at you, then you say, "Oh, well, Dad's really a jerk and I think this." But if you're upset with Dad, you could go talk to Mom and she would cheer you on. I mean, that was good that you were mad at them and that you were seeing things her way.
Were there some specific instances that she got angry at you because you did something, for example, with your dad or with Linda?
Yeah, that's why we haven't gotten along in so long.
Can you give an example?
Well, and they came to my graduation. That was a big deal. And I went out to lunch with Linda and stuff. If I wore Linda's clothes or anything like that. It's pretty much anything.
When you indicate they came to your graduation, you're talking about high school graduation?
Yes.
Okay, and you invited your dad and Linda to come?
Yes.
And what was your mother's reaction?
She was enraged with me. That because Linda wasn't supposed to be there, I guess. And then And Dad said that she took pictures, followed him around, took pictures of him, and then he left early.
Your mom followed them around at the graduation and took pictures of them?
Yes.
And you indicated for if you went out to lunch with Linda, for example, what was your mother's reaction?
Usually I didn't tell her, but if she found out, then she was really mad.
Okay. And when you say really mad, what would she do?
Just yell at me and tell me not to come to her house and that she didn't want to see me anymore and stuff like that.
Was there an incident when you had invited her to come over and look at your apartment that you were living in?
Yeah, that was after I moved out. That was like a little over 2 years ago.
Can you describe what happened?
Well, she hadn't seen it yet. I don't know why. And so she called up and said she wanted to come over. Or we ended up getting along. So then we were going to go out to lunch because we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And then, so I cleaned up the apartment and got all ready. And then I called her back like an hour later and said, where are you? Why aren't you coming over? And she said, well, I was on my way driving down the road and was right by SeaWorld. And then all of a sudden, I remember I just hate you and I never want to see you again. And wish you were just dead and you just disgust me. So talk to you later. And then hung up like everything was just dandy. And she called later and never mentioned it again. But what she was mad about was about graduation, which was 3 years earlier.
So that what you're saying is that particular day when she called you and told you she decided not to come over and she was angry, she was still angry about graduation.
She said she remembered about the graduation deal.
The phone calls that she would make to your house to talk to you or any of the other kids, were they often upsetting to you all?
Well, it depends on her mood. Sometimes phone calls are like, oh, hi, kids, how are you doing? And how'd your test today go? And stuff like that. And then other times she'd be yelling at us about one thing or another, or I had some of her clothes, or we've done something wrong. It depended.
Okay.
And what's the problem? Her messages weren't, they were occasionally for us, but then they would like switch to Dad.
Okay, we'll talk about the messages in just a second. I'm just talking about the actual phone calls where she would actually talk to the boys or actually talk to you. Would there be instances where they would end up being upset by the end of the conversation?
Yeah, not all the time. But yeah, a lot of conversations.
And
because a lot of those conversations were about them going over there. And that was a constant problem. So then, forget it. It was just a mess.
well, let me ask you about the answering machine. You indicated that there was an answering machine at your dad's house. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the basic kind of answering machine that takes incoming messages when somebody calls and they can leave a message on the phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were there times that your mother would leave messages on the answering machine?
Yes.
Okay. And was that fairly common?
Yes. Very common.
Would she leave messages on the answering machine that you would describe as either upsetting or vulgar?
Yes.
Okay. Was that very common?
Yes.
When would you hear these messages?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer machine was in my room for a lot of the time. And then his dad didn't want it hooked up anymore. So then it was in my room so that they wouldn't have to hear it. But yeah, we heard I think we heard all of them.
Okay.
I was the only person, my sister and myself were the people that checked the messages. So.
But you indicated there was a time when your dad just wanted to take the answering machine out.
He did take it out
And
on a few occasions.
Was that because of the messages that were being left by your mother?
Yes.
And so rather than allow that to continue, he wanted to just take the machine out.
Right.
Okay. Well, why did he put it back in?
Because Lee and I wanted it there for our friends and stuff.
So you basically encouraged him to put it back.
Yeah, I think actually I just went and found it and put it back anyway.
Okay.
One time, I don't know, I only think that happened once. That's when I put it in my room. But yeah, the rest of the time, I guess we talked him back into it.
And was there more than one phone that came into the house?
Yes, his line and our line.
Well, the line, for example, if you wanted to call the Broderick house and you looked up the Broderick number, Mr. Broderick, in the phone book.
Right, that was the main line.
Okay.
And then just in his office in his bedroom, then he had his own line, but not very many people called that at all.
So he had just a private line for a few friends that he had in his
Like
own
office and us. And that's basically all.
Did
If it
you-
rang, no, actually, it was mostly him because we didn't have double lines. So if he wanted to call us when he was at work or something, then he would call on that line and we would know that was him. So mostly he's the only one that called that line, on that line, and his friends, but that wasn't often.
Did your mother have that number?
No,
He didn't want her to have that number.
right.
But if your friends would call or other people would call to talk to your father, they'd call the main line. Is that correct?
Yes, we weren't allowed to give up that number to anybody.
Did you ever talk to your mother about not leaving the messages, not leaving vulgar messages like that? Ask her not to do it?
Yes,
Okay. And what would her response be?
forget it. She's going to leave the messages if she wants to. It's because they didn't communicate anymore. So, I mean, that was her way to tell him what she wanted to tell him that day. And to tell us what she needed to tell us. And that was her way of communicating.
That was what I was going to ask. Were the messages that were vulgar, were they always just directed to your dad, or were they sometimes directed to you kids?
Anybody. They weren't always dad.
So if she was angry at you, she'd call and she'd leave an angry, vulgar message for you.
Right.
And if she was angry at Danny or Rhett or Lee, she'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
If she was angry at your dad, she'd do the same thing.
Right. Or sometimes I don't even think she called up angry and then she somehow got angry. Because it would start out fine and then she would get angry.
Okay. Now, whose voice was on the answering machine?
Usually mine or my sister's.
I'm sorry?
Usually mine or my sister's.
Okay. So you would leave the message?
Yes.
Was there a period of time when Linda's voice was on the machine?
Yes.
Okay. When was that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do you know why it was that Linda's voice was on the machine?
One time her voice was on the machine because Lee and I made up this long song kind of message. I think Dad was out of town. And so we left it on there and he had a fit. And then she put her voice on the machine. Then another time that happened and Dad put his voice on the machine. And then after they got married, her voice was on the machine.
Before they got married, there was just the one time that Linda had her voice on the machine.
That's the only time that I know it was on there. When I was living there. And I lived there until I left for college.
And so the other times when you had your voice on it, or your dad had his voice on it, or Lee had her voice on it, would your mother still leave these same types of messages?
Yes. Belinda's voice wasn't on it that long then.
Okay.
I think they were ordered to get it off anyway.
And I take it that as far as the messages on the answering machine, she didn't just talk that way when she left messages on the machine. She also talked that way when she talked to you all in person.
Yeah.
As far as the words that she would use to refer to your dad, the things that she would say about him.
Yes.
Okay. Did she talk about your dad and Linda with sexually explicit terms?
Yes.
Would she do that with the boys?
Yes.
Did you ever talk
She
to
did that
her
with the boys more than with me.
more with the boys than with you?
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to her about not doing that? That she shouldn't?
Yeah, but I mean, she wasn't going to listen to me.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her about the fact that it was upsetting to the boys?
Yes. Well, obviously. I mean, they talked to her about it, and she wouldn't stop doing it.
Okay. Did you ever erase any of the messages yourself so that others in the family wouldn't hear them?
Yes.
Why did you do
Whenever I would get them, I would erase them.
that? So a lot
Because
of
it caused so many problems. Then Dad would be all in uproar, then he would take the phone out, and then we couldn't talk on the phone, and then Danny and Ro would be all upset, and then they wouldn't be able to go over for the weekend, and then they'd all have to go to court and fight. So if you just erased them, then no one had to know about it at all. And then maybe if there wasn't such a commotion, then maybe she just would stop doing it.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Did your mother often want to talk to your dad? Would she try to talk to him?
Yes.
And were there times when he would talk with her?
Yes.
And what
Not very many. I mean, he didn't take all of her calls.
would happen when he would ultimately take a call and talk with her?
It lasted about 3 minutes.
Why? What would happen?
She'd start yelling. And then he'd say, I'm not going to listen to this.
Wait,
Why?
who would start yelling?
Mom. And then
Thank you, Your Honor. Lack of personal knowledge sustained lay foundation for it.
Did you actually hear some of these conversations yourself?
yes, when I'd be at mom's house or at dad's house.
Okay.
Because when I'd be at mom's house, mom wanted to talk to him, so I'd call dad, and then dad would get on the phone, and then the conversation would be over in 3 minutes.
So she would sometimes use you or ask you to call him so that she could talk to him?
Yes.
Okay, and you'd call your dad and you'd say, Dad, Mom wants to talk to you?
Right.
And then when he'd get on the phone, what would happen?
Then she would start yelling at him about whatever it was that she wanted to talk to him about. And then he said, I'm not going to listen to this. And then he'd hang up.
Okay. Was your dad afraid of your mother?
Yes.
Afraid of what she might do?
Yes.
Did he put in a security system, as far as you know, in his house?
Yes. When we moved in, there was a system. I think then he got it updated. So there was a security system.
And how about gates up in the front of the house?
Yes. That was after the car incident.
After your mother drove the car through the front door?
Right.
Then he put gates up on the outside.
You had to know an access code so you could get in.
Okay. Were there ever times that you knew of that he hired security guards?
At his wedding. Oh, yeah. Actually, he hired security guards a lot. When he would go out of town or when there was something going on, then they would park down the street and spy on our house all night.
Okay. And you also indicated at his wedding he hired security
Yeah.
guards? Did your mother ever threaten to kill your dad?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, she would say it so that you really didn't believe her, though. She'd like say, well, I'm going to kill the son of a bitch. That kind of stuff. And then, but I never really took her seriously. She didn't really elaborate on it, like exactly when she was going to do this or how she was going to do this. But she said that she was going to kill him. And then she'd also just say things like that she wished he would just die, that she wasn't going to kill him, but she really wanted him gone.
Did she ever
The
say
world.
anything about shooting him?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said she was going to shoot him. That was around the wedding time that she said she was going to shoot him. And she was going to shoot him in the head. And then she said some number, but I don't remember what the number was. It's like, I'm going to shoot him so many times in the head.
Okay. And that was sometime close to when the wedding was?
Yes.
Did she ever say anything about how other people would react if she killed him?
That the world would be a better place. That everyone would thank her and that everything would be just wonderful then.
I'm sorry, you talk fast and I can't
I'm
hear.
sorry, that everything would be just wonderful then.
That the world would thank her? Is that what you said?
That the world would be a better place and everybody would thank her.
Did you ever talk to her about, if you do something like that, you go to jail, Mom, or anything like that?
I never really sat down and had the conversation like, okay, so let's think about what's going to happen if you do this. But, I mean, like, if she'd say, it's like, yeah, sure, Mom. Spend the rest of your life in jail. That kind of stuff.
And how would she respond to that?
No, I won't. No one will send me to jail. No one will believe what's happening to me. And on and on about that.
Did she ever make threats to kill your dad in front of the boys or to the boys?
Yes.
She would say the same things to
Yeah.
them?
In front of me. I don't know what else she said to them when I wasn't around, but in front of me, she'd say the same things, just that she was going to kill him.
In front of you and in front of the boys,
Right.
is that what you're saying? Okay. Were there any threats that she made in relation to an insurance policy or money? What would happen with the money after she killed him?
That we'd all be rich because Dad had this new insurance policy. That was. I don't know exactly when that was. That was after he got this new insurance policy, and then she said that after.
What did she say?
We'll all be rich and we'll have a wonderful life. We can all live together and we'll have all this money.
If she killed him?
Yes.
So it was in relation to saying, if I kill him, we'll all be rich and we'll all have a wonderful life.
Right.
Did she talk about killing Linda?
No. No, I don't think so.
What were her feelings towards Linda?
She hated Linda, but she never really talked about just Linda. So like Dad and Linda. So no, I don't think I ever heard her say that she was going to kill Linda.
Whenever she talked about Linda, it was always in connection with your dad?
Right. Like, what are the two of them doing? And the two of them did this and the two of them did that.
Was Linda afraid of her?
Yes.
You indicated that she would ask things like, what are the two of them doing? Did she express interest in what was going on in their life?
Very much interest. She wanted to know everything they were doing.
I'm sorry.
She wanted to know everything they were doing.
Okay, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, like they went out to dinner. She wanted to know who they went with, where they went. And if we went on a trip, they wanted to know what we did and who we were with and what we saw. And she just wanted to know everything that went on.
Okay. Was this something that was fairly constant?
She always wanted to know everything that went on.
About Dan and Linda?
Yes, alone and with us.
Okay. Did your mother she writes a lot, is that correct? Does a lot of writing of letters, writing on.
She had a diary that she kept.
Your Honor, may I have marked as People's Exhibit 41? One sheet of paper with some handwriting on it.
So Art, show it, Mr. Rose.
May I approach the witness chair?
Certainly.
If you could take a look at this sheet that's dated January 7th, 1988, People's Exhibit 41. Do you recognize the handwriting there?
Yes, it's Mom's.
That's your mother's handwriting? Your Honor, we have also agreed to a stipulation at this point, defense counsel and I, that People's Exhibit 41 is a true and correct copy of an original that is in the defendant's diary. The original is still in her diary, and this is a copy.
That is correct.
So stipulate.
And may I read that at this point to the jury, Your Honor?
All right, accept the stipulation. Go ahead.
It hasn't been entered into evidence yet.
Now, I would offer it into evidence then.
Your Honor, I think we have a lot more testimony about the rest of the diary coming in with it then.
It's,
Can we approach sidebar?
why is it necessary to read it at this time?
Well, because I want to ask Ms. Broderick some questions about it.
Look at it and ask her questions.
Well, that doesn't make sense unless the jury knows what we're talking about.
I think you're a good enough lawyer to frame a question so it makes sense.
I was allowed, can I first sidebar you?
Sure.
Okay, I may read this page of the diary, is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes, People's 41's received in evidence.
There is no better reason in the world for someone to kill than to protect their home, possessions, and family from attack and destruction. You have attacked and destroyed me, my home, my possessions, and my family. You continue to repeatedly attack and steal and destroy. You are the sickest person alive. A law degree does not give you license to kill and destroy, nor does it give you immunity from punishment. No one will mourn you. That's something that your mother wrote, is that correct?
Yes.
Was your father attacking and destroying you and your possessions and your family?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Was he attacking and destroying your mother's possessions or person?
No.
Let me ask you a little bit about your father and your observations of how your father treated you and treated the kids. Not what other people had to say, but what you observed yourself. How did your father treat you?
He treated us really well. He wasn't too good at the fathering stuff at first. Then he got better, and he didn't really know how to show us emotions and stuff. He wasn't perfect, but he was a really good dad, and he tried hard.
How did he treat the boys, Danny and Red?
Wow, really well. I think they got along great.
Did he love them?
Yes, very much. It was hard because, it's always hard, I guess, when parents get divorced because there's always a tug of war back and forth, but it's particularly hard in our circumstance. And, but as far, as much as I could tell, they got along great, and I know Dad adored them.
Did he love your sister Lee?
Yes.
Did you have any question in your mind that he loved you?
No.
Was he interested in the things that you all were doing?
Yes, he was. Very interested in school. Very interested in school.
How did he show his interest in school?
With always asking about our homework and helping us with our homework and waiting by the door for our report cards to come and talking to our teachers, and he's very interested in how our performance in school.
Was he, as a matter of course, was he home in the evening? Did he come home for dinner?
Yes. Came home at around 6:30.
And would you have dinner as a family, the kids and your father?
Yes.
And then what would happen after dinner?
Then we would go do our homework, and Dad would do his work, and then when we were done, we'd all, I guess what normal people do, nothing. We just ate dinner, and then we all did our stuff.
Did your dad help the boys with their homework if they needed it, type stuff?
Yeah.
Was, what kind of disciplinarian would you say he was?
He was strict, very strict. If we had problems, that's why we had problems, because he was really strict, and he didn't know really what to do with a teenage girl. So, while all my friends would go to slumber parties, I'm not allowed to go, and he was just very strict. But it was, you could work with them if it was something reasonable, but not slumber parties.
Okay. Did he have like a special curfew that he wanted you home?
Yeah, we had to be home at 11 and then midnight and then 1. It was changed as we grew up. And and then on school nights we weren't allowed to go out, and we had to be off the phone by a certain time. For a while we had phone hours. We had to be on the phone. We could only be on the phone during those hours. And
what about physically? Would he ever beat you or Lee or the boys when he'd get angry?
No.
He never beat you guys up?
No. No, when he would get mad. One time Lee and I were arguing, and he said, if you're going to act like babies, I'll treat you like babies. And then he put us over his knee and spanked us. that's the only time that I can remember that he hit me. And he spanked me other times when I was younger, but I mean, like, the last 10 years.
How about the boys? How did he discipline the boys if they
He
were?
spanked them. I've seen him do that, but I never saw him beat them up or hurt them or anything.
Was there ever a situation that you thought the spanking was inappropriate, for example?
No. And it wasn't just, there was reasons where he was disciplining them. But one time, they were fighting and he pulled them apart and he like not tossed, but like pulled Danny onto the bed and then Rhett on the other side. And then, I mean, that they were crying, but it wasn't because they were hurt. It was because they were scared they were going to get yelled at. But that's the only time I saw him that he was more than.
Thank you, Carmen, for being a member for 12 months and supporting your mom. And yes, you do grow up so fast. And you walk down the beach one day and pick up a jellyfish, and your mom wonders how you're making it in life. Don't worry, we won't forget about it anytime soon.
Spanking them.
Were you or Danny or Rhett or Lee, were you afraid of your dad?
Because of his temper? No.
Yeah, just generally afraid, like you had to walk around on pins and needles when you were around him?
No. I got in trouble a lot then. I was bad stage, I guess, and got in trouble a lot. But I didn't want him to yell at me. But I wasn't afraid he was going to punch me or anything.
You just didn't want to get into trouble,
right?
And I'm assuming you indicated as a teenager you had some disagreements with your dad.
Yes.
What was there a difference between, for example, at your dad's house that there were rules and you had to do your homework and that kind of stuff? Was there a difference between that and how it was over at your mother's house?
Well, for me, I was visiting at Mom's house. So then we'd like go out to lunch and go shopping and do fun stuff. So you didn't have to study and do all that just normal routine stuff you do at home. So that was different. Well, we didn't live there, so she didn't have rules for us, but Mom wasn't nearly as strict as Dad.
How about if you would have a disagreement with your dad, would it be something that lasted forever, or would you patch it up within a period of time?
No, he'd take me in his office and then tell me what he thought and give me his little lecture, and then he'd be mad for a while, but it was over the next day.
Were the boys dressed in tatters when they lived with your dad?
No.
What's this about that the boys were dressed with holes in their shoes? And
they might have had holes in their shoes from normal wear and tear. I don't know. I didn't look at those shoes. They always looked fine to me.
When they got up to go to school, did they wear what?
They were clean and brushed their teeth and combed their hair and put on normal. You couldn't really wear tatters to our school. You had to wear collared shirts. You can't wear t-shirts. Girls had to wear skirts. So, no, I mean, they weren't dressed in tatters. I never noticed it.
Okay. What you indicated that your dad sometimes would get angry if he showed his temper. How would he show it?
With us or?
Yeah, with anybody. I mean, did he hit people or did he hit things? Or?
No, he would raise his voice, but he was like very methodical. Like, okay, this is what I'm mad about. Now this is what we're going to do about it. And I mean, he didn't fly off the handle. He knew what he was talking about. He'd get mad and then sit down and say, "All right, I want to talk to you now," and then he'd yell at me.
Okay.
No, but he didn't yell and scream and carry on.
Your Honor, would this be appropriate time for a break?
Yeah, we'll take our noon recess. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in recess until 1:30. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves, not allow anyone else to discuss it with you, no form any opinions on it until it's finally.
Puddletown, you have to explain to me why you think the witness doesn't like Linda. I'm not saying she liked her. She was almost, Linda and her were very close in age. But I don't understand why you think that she has it out for Linda. And yes, Zach, thank you for not making spanking jokes with Carmen. That would be weird. Might have to take you back to court for that one.
Submitted to you. See you at 1:30. Have a nice lunch.
Thank you. I just have a few more questions, Ms. Broderick. I recognize that it's difficult to remember specifics of something that was said to you a couple of years ago. Do you recall?
No, her dad was not unalived by Linda. She was unalived. Him and Linda were unalived by the witness's mother, the one we heard in the tape. So she's testifying against her mom. Linda is no longer around. Oops. Okay, now I feel better that you were just confused on that because I was so trying to figure out what you were seeing that I wasn't. Okay, all right, good. We're all on the same page. No, that's Betty. All right, here we go.
Recall that you gave an interview only a few days after your father was killed about the conversations that you had with your mother.
Yes.
And would it refresh your recollection, do you think, to see a transcript of that conversation?
Yes.
Your Honor, if I could approach the witness, and I'm referring for counsel's benefit to an interview dated November 9th, transcript page 4.
Certainly.
If you could take a look at the first paragraph there and just read it to yourself. Does that help refresh your recollection about what your mother said to you in that first conversation the morning of November the 5th? Yes. Okay. Could you tell us what she said?
Your Honor, I'd ask that if she has, that she's now reading, it appears, document.
Do you have to read from the document to remember, or do you remember after looking at the document?
I still don't remember it word for word except one line of it.
All right, well, why don't you tell us the one line you remember without looking at the document?
What I remember it now is that she said, I had no choice. I had to do it. I couldn't let him win.
Can you remember that without looking at the document?
Right.
There's some other things said that you'd have to look at the document to remember?
Well,
It's okay if you do, just let me know.
well, exactly like that. My choice was to kill them or kill myself. Yeah, that I'd have to look at the document to remember.
Do you want her to keep going as well?
No, that's okay. What you indicated the part that you do remember. Is it fair to say that your recollection obviously was better on November 9th when you gave that interview?
Yes.
Okay. And when you gave that interview, were you telling the truth about what your mother had said?
Yes.
And that interview was tape recorded, is that correct?
Right.
Your Honor, if I could, I would simply like to read that line into evidence at this point as past reflection in court.
Your Honor, I have an objection as to that. I don't think that's proper.
Sustained.
Maybe I could be heard inside by that.
Well, I thought you already had everything and you wanted. What else do you want?
Well, there was one part of the line she indicated that she couldn't recollect independently at this point.
Let her do the read it in if that's what you want to have
Oh,
done.
okay, that's fine.
If it refreshes her recollection, but she can't remember it without reading it, let her read it and tell you if that's accurate.
Well, Your Honor, I still have an objection as to someone just reading something and saying it's accurate, but I still don't remember it. How would she know it's accurate?
Well, let's see if that's what she says. She couldn't remember it word for word, from my understanding, without reading it, but go ahead. Other than the line that you just told me you remembered, read the rest of it to yourself.
The whole thing? No, just the underline.
The first 3 lines.
Okay.
Now, after having read those first 3 lines, do you recall your mother saying that? Just yes or no?
Yes.
So in your opinion, that is accurate?
Yes.
If you don't independently remember it without reading, is that correct?
Right.
Go ahead, read it.
I shot Dad and Linda. The choice, my choice was to kill them or to kill myself. I couldn't let him win.
I have an objection as to reading, and that's the part she said she remembered.
Not the first part of it, I believe, just the last part.
And then directing your attention to the conversation that you had with your mother from jail a couple of days after November the 5th. Did she indicate any remorse to you for killing Dan and Linda?
Your Honor, objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Did she say anything to you about that it was an accident or she didn't mean to?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Did not ask.
I don't believe that one was overruled.
No, she did not.
Did she say anything about it, that she just panicked or she didn't mean to have it happen?
Your Honor, objection is irrelevant in this meeting.
Sustained on leading.
I have no further questions.
Cross that.
And it's fair to say that there was a lot of things that Elizabeth Broderick didn't say during that conversation, isn't it? I mean, she didn't talk about everything, did she?
About
Objection, the question is vague. Obviously, she didn't talk about everything.
Sustained.
How long was the conversation?
maybe about 15 minutes.
And it was how many days after her arrest?
2, I think.
And had she gone to court yet?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Were you aware of her going to court at some point for her first arraignment, weren't you?
Yes.
And by the time she'd gone to court for the first arraignment, you had already talked to her on the phone, is that correct? This telephone conversation had already taken place?
Yes.
And did you write your mother any notes after the arraignment?
I think, yes, it's on her birthday. I think that was on her birthday.
That was after this conversation that you had with her in the jail, is that correct?
I think so.
You were very upset with her, as you indicated, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And at that point in time, you had a tremendous amount of dislike for her, isn't that correct? Because of what she had said and her attitude and not being able to comfort you, isn't that correct?
Right after she said that?
Yeah.
Yes, I was upset with her.
But that upset left you very quickly?
Well, my mom has a tendency of being upsetting me, and then she was very nice to me the next minute, so it could have left me quickly. I really don't remember.
Well, do you remember writing a letter to her, talking to her about saying you don't know what to say, you love her very much, everything will be okay, telling her about taking care of the children, telling her to have a happy birthday, I will come see you, I was there, you were great? Remember writing her a note such as that?
I remember it because I've seen it since, but I don't remember when I wrote it or anything.
Well, when you said you were great, I was there, you're talking about the arraignment, weren't you?
I don't remember. I don't know when I wrote it. Do you know when I wrote
I
it?
haven't seen this letter. Your Honor, I'm also unclear about when the date of the arraignment was. I'm not sure that that a foundation has been laid by counsel that the arraignment was before this conversation.
Your Honor, she's already testified as per recollection.
On the day of the hearing, I checked the court file, wasn't so on.
I don't care for it. She indicated that she had the conversation before the arraignment.
This is before the arraignment.
I don't know.
She said her conversation with the client, Mrs. Broderick, was before she saw her in court.
That's true. I'm talking, but what about the foundation for that letter?
Well, I'm assuming, Your Honor, that this was after the arraignment from the contents of the letter.
Well, I haven't seen the letter, so I don't know if that's an assumption we made or not. The district attorney is objecting, so.
Can we simply have the date of the arraignment if it's like, for one thing?
The arraignment was on her birthday,
Or when's her birthday?
7th.
So the arraignment would have been the 7th of November then?
Yes, and I don't know when I talked to her.
Is that good enough? Mr. Owen as well, we want to make the file.
That's fine, Your Honor, whatever.
That's fine,
Do you know when I talked to her?
on November the 9th.
Well, then I hadn't talked to her by then.
So it's your information that you would talk to your mother after the arraignment, after you saw her in court.
Your Honor,
I don't know.
I
I
can
was-
indicate for the record, Your Honor, that the interview that Ms. Broderick referred to and looked at was November the 9th. I believe that's already stated as a matter.
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right. Court record shows she was arraigned in San Diego municipal felony arraignment on November 7th, 1989. Did you just notice of that?
Yes, thank you.
Just if I can show you, Al, if you can just tell me if you recognize the handwriting on it.
You've had that marked as defendant.
This is F.
F, thank you.
Yes, it's mine.
If you remember writing that.
Yes.
The, now you've indicated that prior to 1984, you had been, prior to 1985, you've been living in a Coral Reef home, is that correct?
Then we moved to the rental house somewhere around then.
September of 84, you moved into the rental.
Right.
You left sometime in February, is that right?
Right.
Okay, so prior to that, you were living in Coral Reef, and then sometime after February of 84, you were living in Coral Reef, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And showing you what's been marked, Defense E for identification, do you recognize that?
Yes, that's Corey.
Okay, and that's the back view of that home? Now, you indicated that where were the boys going to school in 1985 and 1986?
Parker.
And where was Parker located?
That was in Mission Hill.
Okay. And where were the friends that you had and the friends of the boys in 1985, where were they located?
All over the place.
Well, were most of their friends in La Jolla?
I don't know where their friends were. Mine weren't.
And were there complaints by the boys about wanting to move back to La Jolla because that's where most of their friends were?
I don't know about their friends. They wanted to move back to be with Mom.
Mr. Early, defendant C is an 8x10 color photo of the Coral Reef house.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you don't remember any discussions at all about them talking, was there any talk about they did not like living in Marsden Hills because there wasn't kids to play with?
I think in our direct street, but a lot of their friends live in Mission Hills, so that would be much closer to them than in La Jolla. So I don't think that was the biggest issue.
There was never, you don't ever remember having any complaints about them having no friends around their homes. When they got out of school, there'd be kids on the block to play with. You don't remember anything such as that?
On the block, yes, but their close friends from school didn't live in La Jolla. They didn't live by us.
Did they ever complain about living in Marsden Hills? At that location?
Yes.
Because they didn't like the location? Or was it just that they complained because they wanted to live with their mother?
They basically wanted to live with mom.
You indicated that when your mother moved into her house on Calle de Cielo, it was in pretty bad shape, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she had to put a lot of money into it, didn't she?
Yes.
Did you know why she bought, the home had a number of bedrooms and bathrooms? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And as far as you knew, did she buy it to live in it by herself, or did she buy it as a family home?
Objection calls for speculation, interesting.
It's overruled if you know. She
A
ever tell
family
you-
meaning the
she ever
whole
tell you why
family?
she bought it?
Yeah. Did you ever find out why she bought it? Did she buy it because she wanted to live there by herself, or whether she was having to have the family, the children live there?
Probably to have the children live there, too. It's too big for just her.
Now, did she ever talk about the house being torn down?
Yes, she did.
And was there ever any discussion that that's the purpose of buying the house in the first place, was she thought her and your father were going to tear it down and build another house?
Well, I can't object, this is hearsay.
Overruled. Did she ever tell you that?
Her and my father, no. She mentioned she wanted to do that. It was not her and dad together.
Now, you've indicated in 1985, it wasn't. You indicated that where the boys went to school, they were supposed to, there was a very strict dress code, is that correct?
Pretty strict. Skirts and you had to wear collars on your shirts.
And the boys had to wear collars.
Right.
Were you aware of the boys being sent home from school because they were wearing t-shirts on rainy days with no jackets or overshirts?
No, I did not hear about that at the time.
Did you hear about it later?
At the last trial, I heard about that.
Had, this wasn't something your father discussed with you, what people or the teachers, in some of your discussions with your father about what the teachers or principals, what people at the school had said about that?
Said about the boys' dress
Boys
code?
dressing?
No.
Okay. You indicated that the boys like to dress in old shoes, is that correct?
No, I didn't indicate that.
Okay. Did the boys go to school in fairly new shoes?
I don't know. I had never looked at their shoes, really. They didn't have new shoes every month. I don't know. I really don't know what kind of shoes they were.
Well, you indicated that your father was made sure that they went to school dressed appropriately.
I said when I saw them, they always looked appropriate to me.
Okay.
They dressed themselves. I don't know what the shoes looked like.
Well, in Francis Parker, it wouldn't be appropriate to go with shoes that have holes where your feet touch the ground, would it? I mean, that's not what you would call appropriate for that type of school.
No.
Okay. Now, looking at this calendar, and Your Honor, I've marked a line calendar marked defendants G that appears to be the dates of January through June of 1985. What was the date that you moved out of that you were taken out of the home at La Jolla where your mother was living, the rental home, to your father's?
Day before Easter.
Okay. And assuming that that was on April 6th, that was on April 6th of 1985?
I guess, if that was the day before Easter.
Okay, assuming that, that Easter was April 7th.
Yeah, then April 6th.
Your Honor, I just have a strip here reflecting that on the board.
All right.
And Danny was brought over the next day?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And Your Honor, I have a strip just reflecting the next day.
All right.
Now, showing you what has been marked as defense H and I for identification. Do you recognize these two pair of shoes?
Not particularly. I mean, they're probably my brother's shoes, but I didn't really pay attention to what they were wearing.
But you've seen them before your mother's arrest, hadn't you? You knew your mother had those shoes, didn't you?
No,
So when was the first time you saw those shoes?
that my attention was called to these shoes
Yes.
at the last trial.
Okay. Now, that would not be the kind of shoes that you would call appropriate dress to send children to school in, would you?
No, this isn't appropriate. I don't think.
That doesn't appear to be a new shoe that just has a loose flap on it, does it? One with the hole going through.
This one, no.
Your father was a very meticulous dresser, wasn't he?
Yes,
Okay. His suits were custom made,
I don't know that.
and his shirts were custom made.
I don't know that. I know he had his name in monogram. I know they were monogrammed. I don't know if they were custom made.
Okay. And as you indicated, when your mother set fire on his clothes were fairly important to him. He liked to dress very nice,
Yes, he did dress nice. Very nice.
and he had a lot of suits.
Yes,
And he had a lot of, and he liked to keep his shoes looking new. When they started getting old at all, even with creases in them, he'd get new shoes. But
I don't know. I assume so.
and your father would wear, when he went out, would usually wear a silk tie in his coat and would wear a boutonniere in his lapel. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna object to the relevant.
Overall, Mr. Early, their foundation for the shoes, the record's unclear as to what they are. You said a pair of shoes, appears
Oh, I'm
to be a
sorry.
single shoe.
We have, oh, no, I'm sorry, Your Honor. As far as exhibit H appears to be a Nike white with red striped tennis shoe, high top,
White shoe.
boy shoe, mid top.
Go ahead.
And defendant's eye for identification appears to be a super, or at least that's the label of a shoe that's boys tennis shoe with Velcro.
Thank you.
When you talked about the time when your mother used to talk about divorce and ask who you were going to go with. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And you used to tell your father you were. Did you used to tell your father you were going to go with him?
He said you don't have to answer that.
Did you then?
I think I told him. Dad and I didn't talk about it that much, but I think I did tell him once that I wanted to live with him.
Just one time you told him that you wanted to live with him?
Yeah.
Do you remember talking about the time that your father moved out of the house on the rental home? Do you remember talking to your mother about hating her, not wanting to live there?
No.
Did you ever tell your mother that in the presence of other people had the money and you didn't have to listen to her and you didn't have to stay there.
No, I never said that.
Remember when your mother was put into custody from a courthouse sometime in 1987?
Yes.
Do you remember going over to her house the evening that she was put in custody?
No. I had her car though. I don't recall what I did.
Remember having a party at her house the night that she was put in custody?
No.
Remember about that time you weren't allowed over her house?
Why not?
You remember that? Remember any time when you weren't allowed over there?
No. By who?
By your mother.
Well, she'd say don't come back, but maybe she said that the day before. I don't remember.
You and your mother used to have fights about you coming over her house and taking her clothes, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And you used to have fights about you coming over there with friends when your mother wasn't around, and friends would, or at least the accusations were, would raid a liquor cabinet, isn't that right?
Yes, she got mad about that. Yeah. I don't really know if that happened, but she said that my friends did that.
And there were arguments about you coming over her house a lot and basically taking all the food out of the house or having it all eaten. There was arguments about that, whether it was true or not. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. And there was never a time where your mother told you that that you were not allowed at their house without her permission?
No. Wait. Maybe she said that. I don't remember.
Now, when you were living at the rental house, after your father moved out, your mother was quite upset, was she not?
Yes, she was.
And she was very upset not knowing how she was going to live, wasn't she, where the money was coming from?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
But was she saying that? You talked about.
She was upset. I don't know exactly if it was upset about money, but she was upset.
Now, you indicated that your mother always had plenty of money, is that right?
Objection.
When?
That misstates the evidence.
Overruled, you can answer that.
When are you referring to? Since they were separated?
Yes.
Yeah, she had money.
You said that she had lots of money, never went without, didn't you? So wasn't that your opinion?
Because she never went without money. No, it did not seem to me that she was broke. She had money. She wasn't broke.
Did you know that when your father left the home that there was no money in the savings or checking accounts?
I don't know if I'm sorry.
She answered it. She's going on.
I don't know of my father's financial conditions at all. I have no idea what he did with money and how much he made or anything.
Well, wait a minute. When your father and mother were married together, was it your father's money, your mother's money, or was it both money? What, do
Objection argument.
Ask her if she knows.
you know? Did you consider it to be your father's money?
When they were married?
Yes.
No, I did not.
Okay, so when he moved out, checking and savings accounts, obviously on that day would have been both of theirs, right?
Right.
Do you know whether there was any money in a checking or savings account?
I don't know about anybody's financial situations.
And when you were living at the, you indicated your mother always seemed to have plenty of money to spend. Your father did too, didn't he?
Right. But I wouldn't know amounts or anything. That's how it looked to me. I mean, I know how much mom was awarded in alimony, but that's only from court hearings. I don't know how much dad made. I don't know how much he spent. I don't know anything about that.
Well, you've related some conversations or some words your mother would use about your father, some language. Would she just do it in a vacuum, or would she talk about the things that were going on in her life? Maybe something in a court hearing that day, something about finances that was going on where she would swear.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking me.
Well, you've related that your mother would talk in negative terms and use bad words with your father, about your father.
Yes.
Was it always just in a vacuum, or would sometimes she come from a court hearing and she would relate what happened in the court hearing and she'd use the bad words as talking about what happened to her in court, as well as using those words?
Both times she used those words.
Okay. And sometimes she would get her a letter in the mail that would precipitate the use of the language that you've described. Is that correct?
She called them that all the time, no matter, yes, if she got a letter, then she would talk about them and talk about the letter in those terms.
So when you talked to us about your mother using this inappropriate language all the time, you had no idea what was going on in court, did you?
Sometimes, not all the time, no, I did not.
And when you had it sometimes, where would you get that information?
From mom and dad.
And you've indicated that it was your understanding that visitation throughout the whole separation was always a court-ordered visitation, as far as you know. Isn't that correct?
No.
Do you remember testifying at the last trial that you couldn't believe that your father would set up the visitation without a court order?
I said he wouldn't do that?
That is, wasn't your belief that there could not have been a court order prior to 1989 for visitation? That it was your belief that it had been set up by the court?
I just know that there was visitation. I know it was set up by the court at some time. I might have said that.
Your father, in these conversations you had with him about whether the boys should be there, he never told you that he'd gone to court and gotten an order in 1986 that denied your mother visitation, custody, or the right to talk to any of the children?
I think I knew about that order, but we didn't obey it.
Well, sometimes your father would say the order and say that you have no right to visit, isn't that right?
How long a period of time is this?
The order was, assuming the order was in July of 1986, and there was no change in it until January of 1989.
Well, I think that that's wrong.
You do? And where do you get that information? Is that something that your father said your mother's lying, there's court-ordered visitation?
I had thought that there was a list and they were supposed to sign up on the weekends that they wanted. I don't know if that was court-ordered or not, but that was my understanding on what they were doing.
And so when you had this understanding that your mother was being outrageous about the visitation, it was based on the fact that you thought that there was some kind of schedule that she had some control over.
My understanding was that they were each of them was just supposed to fill in the weekends they wanted. I don't think that ever was completed. I don't think they both ever filled that in, but that they sent one, and then I think Dad filled in his. I really don't know what happened with that. I thought that there was an understanding. I thought that they had, I don't know, through the court or just the two of them, but I had understood that there was visitation before January of 1989.
And sometimes your father would let your mother talk to the children, call on the phone, and then other times he wouldn't. Isn't that right? He'd put the answering machine on so she couldn't get through.
Right, that's right.
Now, there was a series of calls that you listened to that you said that you knew that they were your mom's voice, the messages that we played here for the
Yes.
jury. Remember those?
Yes.
Remember there being the first three messages all relating to, why don't you check with my plans for the weekend before you just drop the kids off?
Do I remember hearing them? Yes, I do.
Do you remember your mother having a job and everyone being dropped off without any notice when she was supposed to go to work?
Do I remember that happened?
Yes.
I've heard since that had happened, but I don't think I was dropped off there. I might have been at school already or something.
So that message that you heard where she is upset because the kids are just dumped off, you weren't there that day?
No, no, I don't think so.
Do you know
what year that is or anything?
Do you know what year it is?
I have no idea.
And where did you hear that it interfered with your mother so that she couldn't keep her job?
From Mom?
And when did you hear that?
Whenever this happened, I remember I remember her saying that.
But did you understand why, did you know that that there was no court-ordered support for some period of time after your father left your mother?
Did I know that? Yes, I did.
And do you ever remember testifying that it was your belief that your mother always had court-ordered support?
I don't think I said that. I know that I thought that they agreed on her getting $9,000 a month, and then once it was court ordered, then she got $16,000 a month.
Did you know that your father was fining your mother without any court sanctions, just taking money out?
When she vandalized the house, yes, I do. Because he said he was making repairs in the house.
Well, you also knew that he was fining her for using what he thought was inappropriate language.
Yes.
He wasn't asking the judge to fine her, he was doing it.
I don't know that, but Mom told me that. I mean, I think he did that.
Did you know that at least one month she was in there, she owed him $1,500 instead of getting any support, she owed him $1,500?
She told me that then. Yeah, I remember that.
Now, you, when you were living at the rental homes, there was a lot of rats there, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
And there was enough rats that you could hear at night, you'd be woken up by the traps going off.
My bedroom was in the back. I didn't hear traps going off, but I'm sure there were traps going off. There were rats in the house.
A lot of rats.
Yeah, pretty many.
And there would be times when you'd hear people screeching because a rat was running across, wasn't there?
I don't remember, but it could have happened. There were lots of rats.
And do you remember that your mother was calling your father and trying to get him to come back over and do something with the rats because all the children were upset?
Not particularly, but that probably happened.
Your father was a fan of Donald Flynn, isn't that correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll make an offer of proof now.
I'd love to hear it too. Come on up.
Now, it's your recollection that that Lee and Rhett were brought over a couple months later, sometime late in the evening, is that right?
About 8, I think. Around 8 or 9.
Okay. And at that time, your dad was not home?
No.
So it was just you and Danny who were home?
Right.
Okay. And you know where your father had been?
No, I don't.
You remember what day of the week it was?
No, I don't.
Do you remember it being a Sunday?
No, I don't.
Do you remember your mother going to New York?
Yes, she went to her dad's birthday party.
Now, when you were brought over to your father's house to live, you thought it was inappropriate for your mother to have you live with your father. Is that correct?
No, I thought it was inappropriate for her to single me out and kick me out of the house.
So you wanted to stay with your mother?
Well, I thought if she didn't want the children that she should handle it differently and maybe talk about it rather than pack up and ship somebody out.
Sometime after the homicide, did you ever tell somebody that you felt it was your job to come to court and tell a different story than your mother was?
No, I did not.
Did you ever say that there was a need for a different version to come out than your mother was giving?
No, I said that Mom wasn't telling the truth and that I was going to have to go to court and testify because Mom wasn't telling the truth. That's what I said.
So it's you felt that was your function to come in and tell what the truth is that correct?
Not my function, but if no one else was there, then and I'm the only person who would know, then I assumed that I would have to come in and do that.
Do you remember being asked at the prior trial about whether your mom and dad usually went into another room for their fights, when there was fights in the home?
Yes, I do.
And is that true?
After they would start fighting, then they would go into the room. But some fights, like at the dinner table, those were in front of us.
Now, you indicated that your father's way of responding to things was your mother was violent, but your father wasn't violent. Your father would kind of be meticulous about what he did. Is that correct? You don't remember your father having violent reactions?
To us. When he was dealing with us, with people.
Well, you remember your father being violent around the home, didn't you?
When he would get fed up with things, but didn't have that temper with us.
Okay. For instance, when he got mad at a lawnmower, he destroyed it with a hammer. Is that right?
Yes.
And when he got mad at a motorcycle, he tore it apart and threw it down a canyon. Is that correct?
No.
Well, he did break it up, didn't he?
I don't know what he did to it. He was in the garage. He made a lot of noise. He was screaming and yelling, and then it was gone. I don't know what he did with it.
You remember him throwing, one time when he was up in the bedroom with your mother, a closet door being ripped off the closet, thrown out the balcony, don't you?
He was not up there with my mother.
Well, he was up in the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. And you remember him taking an aquarium and throwing it out a window on the ground, is that correct?
No, I don't remember that. I wasn't there for that. I heard about that.
Okay. And you've heard about him kicking the dog when he was mad?
Yes.
And you at least heard about him, or some allegations about pushing Rhett down a stair.
I heard Mom say that. That's the only time I've heard that.
Well, didn't you testify that Rhett got in trouble for saying that, and your father was saying it wasn't true?
I know Rhett told Mom that, but I don't think that happened. I heard Rhett told Mom that. I didn't hear him tell her.
Well, didn't you testify at the last trial that Rhett got in trouble for saying that to your mother?
I don't know. Did I say that?
Did you? Do you remember at any time saying that Rhett got in trouble for saying that to your mother?
I don't know. I could have said that.
Well,
I
did
don't
Rhett
know.
ever get in trouble for saying that you can recall now?
I don't know about that in particular. If Rhett would tell Mom stuff that wasn't true, he would get in trouble. I don't know.
Now, do you remember in showing you what is a dress labeled K for identification, do you remember the rats eating at the clothes in the house?
Rats eating the clothes at the rental house.
Rental house.
No, they didn't eat my clothes.
Do you remember eating clothes that were hanging up in your mother's closet, or problems she was having with them?
At the rental house?
Yes.
I thought that was at the Calle del Cielo house. I know somewhere that the rats ate her clothes, or moths ate her clothes, or both.
And did the boys ever, sometimes when your mom would yell and scream about your father, was it ever have anything to do with them going around with clothes that had holes in them?
When she would yell and scream about Dad?
Yes.
Probably, among other things. I don't know.
Do you recognize, and for the record, Your Honor, labeled J is a pair of blue, appears to be boys' shorts with a pull string. Do you recognize these shorts?
Yes.
And you know who those were?
Rats are Danny.
And do you remember that your mother being upset about the boys going out in clothes like that and taking them off of them, and buying them?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Yes, she did do that.
And there were times that your mother was spending a lot of money on you for clothes, wasn't she?
Yes.
And there was times that you were complaining that your father didn't understand how much clothes cost for girls.
Right. He didn't.
Okay. And you were also complaining that you were having a hard time because when you would try to explain to him, Linda would interfere and tell him that you weren't being truthful. Isn't that right? Or that you didn't need to spend that kind of money?
She never interfered in front of me. Maybe she did that behind my back. I don't.
You complained to your mother that there was fights with your father where your father would tell you that Linda would say you don't need to spend money on the kids. Their clothes cost too much.
No, not that he didn't need to spend money on this. That he'd say, okay, how much do you need to go shopping? And then we'd tell him, and then he'd, I guess, discuss it with Linda and come back and tell us how much we could have.
Well, there's a number of times that you would go over to your mother's house upset about the fact that something was going on and your father wasn't helping you with clothes, wasn't there?
Dances? Is that what you mean?
Dances for
For
one.
proms, yeah, that was a problem at prom and homecoming and things.
In fact, one prom night, you came over to your mother's house when she was having dinner with friends and you were very upset, weren't you? Or at least you were crying.
I don't remember that she was having dinner with friends. I don't know exactly what you're speaking of. There was one year that Mom took me out to get a dress late at night.
In fact, she had to go bang on the doors at a store to get them to reopen it so that you could get a dress.
Right.
And complaining about your father at that time, were you not?
Well, he gave me not enough money, I thought, to get a dress, so I was mad about that.
You also would come over and ask your mother for money because you weren't able to have shoes that were decent, isn't that correct?
No.
Okay, do you recognize people's L for identification?
Yes.
Okay, and it appears to be a medium heel slip-on shoe, Anne Klein.
Mhm.
Okay, do you recognize that shoe?
Yes.
Okay, and whose shoe is that?
Mine.
And do you know how your mother got possession of that?
She took it from me.
Well, was that a time when you were complaining about not having, being able to have enough money to go out and shop?
No.
That was how your shoes normally looked?
Yes.
Okay, we've seen the way you dress here. You normally dress the way you are here? You'd like to dress well, don't you?
Yeah, I guess.
In fact, there'd be a lot of battles because your mother, in fact, you said your mother was a free spender. She'd love to take you out and buy you tons of clothes and then make you feel bad about all the clothes she bought. Is that right?
When did I say that?
Is it true that your mother used to take you out shopping and then make you feel bad about it because she complained that she was spending all her money on you?
She would take me shopping, and then later she would tell me that she was broke.
And she would make
And
you...
then I would feel bad because I had just went shopping with her and got all these new clothes. And now she said that she had to borrow money from people because she's broke.
Is it your testimony that's the way you like to wear your shoes?
No, it's not the way I like to wear my shoes, but I walk wrong, so my shoes get ruined.
So that shoe is just something that's not a very old or bad shoe. It's just that's the way your shoes look fairly quickly.
Yeah, all my shoes at home look like this.
And
I take it that your shoes have always looked like that, even when you lived with your
Your
mother.
Honor, I'm going to have to object at this point as to the relevance of the condition of the shoes.
Sustained.
Well, can I just say something about the shoes?
Now, what was the question?
The time that your mother came over and rammed her car into your father's front door, you remember that day, is that correct?
Yes.
Was Linda over there that day?
Earlier, Linda wasn't there when the car came. I think she was there earlier in the day when Mom was there and then Dad came home. I think Linda was in my room then.
So Linda this is in 1985. Your father's at work.
Objection, Your Honor.
No.
I'm sorry, 1986.
No. When Dad came home, there was some time when Mom and Linda met each other in my room. I think that was this day. They were both in my room, and Mom said they talked for a minute. I think that was this day, but Linda wasn't there without Dad. Linda was only there when Dad was there.
Your mother came over.
And I think Dad and Linda came home after that.
So after you called up your mother, you called up your father and said, Mom's been over here. She's gonna burn down Coral Reef.
So I said, Mom is here. What do you want me to do? I didn't say she's gonna burn down Coral Reef because I didn't know that yet.
When did you find that out?
Later, after Dad had already been there, and then Mom had left, and I said, well, I think she's gonna burn down Coral Reef. That's when I told him that.
Well, when did you find it out though from your mother? Before your father got there?
Yeah, yes.
So as soon as your father arrived, did you tell him she's gonna burn down Coral Reef?
No, because she was still there.
As soon as she left, you said, by the way, she's gonna burn down Coral Reef.
He said, what do you think she's gonna do? And I said, well, I think she might burn down Coral Reef. Yeah, that's
And when
it.
did she tell you that she was gonna burn down Coral Reef?
I think she told me that on the phone, actually, even before she got there. She said, I'll burn the house down before he'll sell it. She didn't say, right now I'm gonna go over and burn the house down.
Well, but where was that before? Did she call before she came over the first time?
Yes,
So she called up wanting to know where your father was.
right.
And she said she was coming over and she was gonna burn down Coral Reef.
She didn't say she was coming over. She said, I'll burn the house down before he'll sell it. That's what she said.
And so then you call your father to let him know what's happening.
No.
Your mother shows up.
Then Mom showed up. I didn't talk to him before Mom came over.
Okay, so Mom calls up and you call your father.
Right.
Did you tell your father then, because you already knew that she had threatened to burn down Coral Reef, did you say, Mom's here and she has threatened to burn down Coral Reef?
No, I did not.
You didn't mention that to him at all?
Not then. No, I just said, Mom's here. What do you want us to do?
Okay, now after, then your father showed up and your father said, I'm
Well,
not.
she couldn't burn down Coral Reef if she was there. So I didn't tell him right then.
But
But
she
once she
called,
left, I was like, oh, she might go do that. I didn't know she was going to.
she called you on the phone, is that right? You didn't know where she was when she called you?
Right.
Okay, so you didn't know where she had been before she showed up, did you?
No.
And so you didn't know whether she had gone over to Coral Reef before she came over to your father's house, did you?
No.
Okay. So you didn't say to him anything about the burning up of the house?
I don't think I mentioned it until after she left the house.
And then after your mother came back and banged into the door, it's your memory that, do you have a vivid memory of that event?
Yes, I do.
And you indicated that you heard what you thought was a chainsaw, and your father went out to investigate it?
Dad ran out the front. We were in the kitchen. Dad walked out towards the dining room, towards the front door. I walked out towards my room, the back door.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Talking too fast.
No. We were in the kitchen. Dad walked out towards the dining room and I walked.
Out towards my room and the back door.
Thank you.
Now, you indicated that as you heard this noise, you thought it may have been a chainsaw, and you could only hear your mother, is that correct?
Then it sounded like a chainsaw. Then I ran out the back. When I was down in the backyard, I hadn't heard anyone's voice until that time. Then I heard Mom and didn't hear Dad. I still don't know why I didn't hear Dad. Mom was calling to me.
Did you ever hear your father's voice over the chainsaw?
No. I heard him yell initially when I was leaving, and then, no, I didn't hear him talking or anything, though. I didn't know what had happened to him or what he was doing, that Mom was talking to me or calling to me. I didn't know where Dad was.
So you heard your father yelling as he went out to where your mother was?
I think he said, like, Jesus or something like that when he got up there and saw it went out. Or he said that at some time. He, like, yelled a word. That's all I heard.
And was your mother yelling at that time?
No. No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did you ever hear your mother yelling?
Then she was yelling to me.
So the only time you heard your mother do anything was when she was yelling to you, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you indicated that you went and saw your mother at the hospital?
I went out with Brad, but I don't know if we got in. I think we just went to the front. I really do not remember seeing her. I don't think you could go back and visit her. But we went to her window. That's what happened. We went to her window.
And who else went?
Brad and I think Lee.
And when you saw your mother being taken away by the police, is that correct?
I saw her when she was already in the car. Yes, and they were driving away.
And were you there when, did your father say anything where he wanted him to take your mother?
No,
Did you ever become aware of your father asking to take him to any hospitals? Psychiatric hospitals?
did Dad ask that? No, I don't know that.
Did you see your mother's car outside after she was taken away? Did you see anything in the car?
I don't remember. I don't even know if I really looked in the car.
Did you ever see a knife?
I don't know if I just heard about the knife or if I saw the knife. I think I just heard about the knife.
And
Or if I saw it, it wasn't in the car, it was afterward, like where Dad brought it inside or something.
did your father go anywhere then after your mother was taken away?
I don't think so.
Well, did you go anywhere?
Oh, yeah, I went to my friend Heather's house, actually.
You didn't
I
go,
left.
You didn't go to Coral Reef, did you?
No.
Yeah. You know whether your father went to Coral Reef?
I left. I don't know. It was only my sister and I at home, and we both went to friends' houses.
Did you ever see a gas can in your mother's car?
No,
Did you ever see a gas receipt?
no.
Were you ever shown a gas can? Or a gas receipt?
I don't think so.
Now,
Not then. No, I don't think so.
you indicated in showing you what has been marked as People's 21 in evidence. This is a family portrait with a scratch on it. If I can put it right up here for a moment. Is this the only family portrait in the home that had like a scratch in it, or were there others? This was done, so.
I think that's the only one. Only one I heard that.
Okay. Well, you in fact were the one who discovered it, is that correct?
Yeah. It was in my room. It was either me or Lee. Somebody in my room that morning noticed it, and then I went over and saw it.
Okay. And when you indicated your mother had come over that day to retrieve some clothes that you had taken of hers,
That I had borrowed hers.
that you had borrowed of hers.
Yes. Right before she came to take, she wanted to find some clothes of hers, and I wasn't home.
And I take it that she had given those clothes to you to borrow? Or had you just gone over and borrowed them?
Probably both. She lent me a lot of clothes.
And so you indicated that she was over there that night, and then that morning, you discovered this scratch, is that right?
Yes.
And had you seen that scratch before in there?
No.
And I suppose everyone in the family talked about it. I mean, I suppose that this became something that was discussed. You showed it to your father.
Yeah, showed it to my dad.
Okay.
I don't know. It just was discussed with
Okay.
Danny Rat.
But everyone, that was the first, when you discussed it with everyone, that was obviously the first time they had seen that scratch too.
Right.
Okay. And if I can just for a moment go to another subject. You were going in 1989, you were going to school in Arizona, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And what months were you going to school? I mean, from when to when was it?
From August to May.
May what? The end of May?
Beginning of May. May like 5th or something like that.
Okay. And then you were home,
Yes.
living at your father's place?
Yes.
And is that when that happened?
I don't remember. I really don't know when that happened.
But you do remember that the reason your mother was over that day was because of the clothes.
Yes, because I got in, it was basically my fault that Mom was over because I was supposed to have brought the clothes over to her house and I didn't. So she came over to get them because there was something in particular that she needed. So Dad is mad at me that Mom didn't come over, so that sticks out in my mind.
Okay, and did anyone else even know your mother was over that night? Or did you just have to fess up to it? That was your fault?
No, I wasn't home. I didn't know she was over that night. Someone else had told me that she had come over that night.
To get your clothes.
Right.
And
She told me to get the clothes. They didn't tell me to get the clothes.
had there been other times your mother had been over there, and there would be things going on, like you indicated sometimes she'd bring the boys back. Like for once, she brought Rhett back because he had an earache. Remember that? Yeah. Okay. Do you remember when that was?
That he had an earache?
Yes.
No.
Okay. But that was a big to-do when she came over and brought him back, isn't it? Were you home the night that she brought Rhett back?
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, it was in the middle of the night and he had an earache and woke the whole house up. Do you remember that, or did you just hear about it?
I think I just heard about it.
Okay.
I
Now,
think that might have been after I went to school.
okay, but you do remember, you don't remember being at home at all for that incident, is that right?
I think. Maybe I was just out for the night. I don't know. I didn't get woken up. If he did come home that night, I wasn't woken up by it.
Okay, but the night that your mother scratched that picture, the night she came over to get the clothes is a different night than the night Rhett had the earache, isn't that right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you were it's your memory that the only reason that she was over the house that night.
That's what she told me that she was over there that night for.
Well, you discovered the picture the next day.
Right.
Did anyone say, yes, Mom had been here, there'd been a big to-do? You don't remember anything about that, do you?
No?
Do you remember your father writing a letter to your mother in May saying that,
Objection, Your Honor. It's hearsay and outside this witness's personal knowledge.
Well, it's about time for the afternoon recess, Mr. Earl, if you're agreeable.
if I could just ask,
What is one area? Go ahead.
Was there a ruling on the objection? I have an objection to him repeating what is in the letter if this witness doesn't know of personal knowledge.
Sustained.
well, Your Honor, I'd like to show her the letter and see if she has.
Go ahead.
You remember, you indicated that you had a discussion with your mother about whether she did that, is that correct?
Yes.
Did she deny that?
Yes.
If I could have Mark, Your Honor, for a letter on stationery of Kim Broderick.
Defendant's M.
I'm sorry, Anne,
M is in Mary.
thank you.
And did you ever find out whether your father did anything about that portrait?
No.
So that was one of the things that you didn't have to discuss that with your father?
If he did anything about it, I don't know what you mean.
Okay, if you could just read this letter to yourself and tell me if that refreshes your recollection as to what he might have done about the portrait.
Yes, Mama told me that he had done that. Dad, I did talk to Dad about it.
You never told your father that it was your fault that your mother was over there? Never talked to your father about that? Or he never talked to you about that?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes.
I object to the characterization that it was Kim's fault that this.
Well, I'm sorry about the characterization. I'll withdraw the question. Did you talk to your father that it was because of something that you happened to do that your mother was over there?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this.
Don't worry your pretty little heads. We are not done with Kim yet. We are for today. But we got through that pretty fast. She had 3 hours of testimony. We're just over 3 hours. Look at us doing a good job. I told you I wasn't going to stop much, and I didn't. But so I saw some of you guys commenting that she's calm, and I won't, kind of matter of fact, I'll be nice about it. I did read that from people from articles from back then that she was more subdued this time around, because remember, this is the second trial, and that so she's already been through it once, so that may just be why she's kind of just so much more matter of fact about it. No. But also, I can't imagine being in her shoes, especially at 21. And this is the second time. So she was even, obviously even younger before. Your dad is gone and your mom is on trial for unaliving him. You essentially are going to have no parents. And you still have younger siblings. So I don't know how I would be in that situation. I can't imagine. I did not stop and yell at you. I did yell a few minutes ago, but it was at my dogs because they were downstairs causing a ruckus. If you'd like me to describe the ruckus, I can. It was a lot of barking. Yes, there will be no replaying of the tape. Overruled. It's going to be stricken from the record. No. No. And I don't yell at you any more than I yell at Flashman. Y'all telling lies. See, I knew. I beat you to it, Flashman. But anyway, so tomorrow, even though we're not done with Miss Kim Broderick, they do have to take a witness out of order because I think there's scheduling issues or something. It is a divorce attorney, but I'm not sure if it was either one of their divorce attorneys, Dan or Betty's, or if it was apparently, allegedly, Betty had many divorce attorneys that she kept firing. If it was one of her previous divorce attorneys, if he's just a divorce attorney that knew both of them, I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. And it should not be as long as today. Oh my goodness. You too. I'm not even going to address that one, Puddletown. I'm not even going to address that one. Good heavens. All right. There was a real issue a minute ago, but you guys couldn't see or hear me take care of it. And I did take care of it. They're not barking anymore now, are they? That's probably just because my husband came inside. Is that at 9, Gabby? I can send you there. It's a little early, but I don't care to send you over there. See you, Sir Frank. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Let me hang on a second. Oh, I always get this wrong. Where is it? So tomorrow will be at 5:30 again. We'll see what this divorce attorney is all about. And is it extreme word challenge? Wait, which trivia? I don't know. Which one is it, Gabby? I can see that she's got extreme. Look, oh, wait. I have no idea because I've never blocked anybody. General trivia. Okay. Thanks, Pedaltown. Gotcha. You're added. You're going to go. Sending you over there. Tell her I said hello. I got it all set. Okay, well, I'd have to click the link, Gabby. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys. Have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do well in trivia over at Grandma's. Tell her I said hi. See you guys tomorrow at 5:30-ish. I'm off for my bed. Maybe a vanilla pudding cup. I think I was so tired yesterday, though. I think I was asleep before like 8:30. No, it was 9. Maybe 9. I was out. I hope Pedaltown, I didn't yell at you. I told you thank you. You're confusing me. All right, guys. See you later. Tell Grandma I said hello. And that's all I got. So